Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Weekly Games Chat. I am your host, Chris, as always, joined by my co-host, Sean. You feel so weird right now because you're right there.
What's happening right now?
Yeah, you don't know what to do.
The room is different. My chi is off. Is chi a real thing?
It's called chai.
That's tea.
And John.
Hi.
Hey.
Guys, I really enjoyed your podcast last week.
Yeah, I know.
It was really great.
You're welcome.
You know, you sounded a lot like...
I don't remember a lot about Disney, but I'm sure it was fun.
I mean, I sounded a lot like you.
Yes. What?
Look.
Yes, what? Yes.
The Folkestown Marketing did some analytics.
Oh, God.
You don't trend as well as he does. We had to make a...
It's a joke. Just go with it. Don't take it personally.
I'm not taking it personally.
You suck. It's cool and everything, but...
We love you, but if you were the one who died, the band would keep going. You're Ringo.
Oh, that's...
Man.
It's weird seeing your face like face to face now.
Face to face. Now you see what I see.
Yeah.
Or have
I'm
seen.
going to be a blubbering idiot over here.
No.
That's because, see, that's what you doing.
I'm backing that up so
Why?
it's not right on the mic.
I have.
That's how I like it. It's always been like this.
Well, that's why you always... Okay.
I have an important.
Leave me alone.
I have an important announcement.
Children?
You changed my seat. Now you're touching my mic.
Do you need to go to your room?
I'll wait right here. I have an important announcement to make.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Calamity Ganon has met his demise.
Oh, about time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
That was your most anticipated game of 2017.
That was so like awkward but real at the same time.
Yeah.
They fist bumped.
But it was more of a,
Ooh, I have an announcement too.
Yeah. What you got?
I don't know if you knew. The boy, he beat it. He did finish
Oh,
it.
yeah.
He finished God of War.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I knew he beat it.
Boy.
Okay, I didn't know. You were out of
Yeah.
town.
And then I was playing, I believe, Fortnite with him. And
See, we made a joke back when you were here.
well, he did like after that.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he heard it.
Yes. And then, he just sat there for 3 days.
Little son of a...
I got big hands.
But we were on, what were we on? Anyway, we were hooked together like in a chat, either PlayStation chat or through Skype or something.
Yeah.
And, you hear Holden in the background basically telling Jeff that he's gotten to the final boss in God of War. And then not long after, he finishes it, he's like so excited. He's like, yeah, I did it, Dad. Little time passes after that and Jeff's like, it's, you never know when they hit you, but these moments that make you real proud as a dad, this is one of them, when you realize your son is into video games and he did something like beat God of War.
True.
Like, you know what? You're right, dude. That's pretty awesome.
That's true.
Nice little reflection moment by old Jeff.
I went over there Saturday, and as soon as I walked in, 2 seconds, Holden was spoiling the ending of that game. And I was like, well, glad I beat that one.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He has no concept
See
of
that
it.
Star Wars? Darth Maul got cut in half. It was awesome. Like, what?
I realized
Funny about that.
I'm still playing Breath of the Wild for the expansion stuff, but I realized in this game I'm kind of a serial killer
Yeah.
Why?
because
You see a camera
murder
dead.
everyone?
I kill Lionels
Mm-hmm.
and I keep their weapons and I never use them. They're like trophies.
That is serial killer-ish.
I don't want to use their weapons because they're so BA, It's like
Now-
the shields and the swords and the
That'll be
spears.
season 2 of, what you call it, with the old boy, Jonathan Groff. I can't remember the name of the show right now.
Mine,
You know what I'm talking about.
Mindhunter?
Yes, Mindhunter. Thank you.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
He knew what I was talking about.
Yeah,
I was speaking Jonathan.
Yeah, there you are. I spoke Jonathan.
Hey, you did.
Yeah,
I
we
know
did.
you were that way.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, man.
I let him try nacho, Chris.
Oh, man. It was good. Of course, I looked over later and he's like carefully placing a jalapeno pepper on top. I'm like,
Wait, movie nachos?
Movie nacho.
I feel betrayed.
You shouldn't.
I wanted this to happen. Oh, what?
No, yeah, absolutely. You should
I feel betrayed that no one...
No, you already went.
So, I would have gone again.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
See,
I have a thing called Movie Pass, so I could go see a movie once a day. And just to see my two friends, one who had been away for over a week.
What is Movie Pass? What does this mean?
You know what Movie Pass is?
That,
You get to go see a movie a day for free?
Yes.
pretty
Well,
much.
you pay,
With the
yeah.
exception of IMAX stuff and special
What?
screenings.
Yeah, you pay like $9.99 a month. Seriously.
That's it? And I can go see a movie?
Yeah.
Like we could have seen that with our phones and just went like,
Well,
or do you have a card?
you didn't pay for it.
Like
I didn't. I still technically owe you $7-ish. No, I haven't forgot. I owe you $7 or $8.
Who owes anybody anything? You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
There's nothing a little.
Chris Movie Pass.
Oh, it looks like a MasterCard.
Yeah, it's like a debit card. Basically, like you have an app on your phone, and you have to be within like 100 yards of the theater, and then like you just pulled up and you
Sounds
say
like stalker status.
it is like weird. Like it requires you to be within 100 yards of the theater, and basically you say like, "Hey, here's the listing of the movies at this theater. I want to see this one." And it goes, "Cool, your card's active." You go up there, they run it, boom.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, now
So,
I
like-
know that. But anyway, we went to see. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. So basically, like if
thought
you
he was
just
done.
if you see one movie a month,
You pay.
you know, yeah. If you're going in regular
pays for
time,
itself,
yeah,
yeah.
it pays for itself right then and there.
But it's one. You could technically watch one a day.
Yes, you get one a day, 2D, and as he said, like
No
I
3D.
think like
None at all.
if you go to like the big D, you have to pay $1.
Yeah, you do.
That's the only thing.
The big D.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
worth it.
Solo is what we
Solo.
went to go see. I saw your praise of it.
Yeah, well,
After
It
the
wasn't-
fact on
it
Facebook.
wasn't praise. It was.
No.
No.
I'm doing this new thing now, like
Yeah.
where all I just say is
It's
I
better
don't.
than something.
No,
yeah,
no.
Or if it was the other way, if I really didn't like it, I would just say like it's not as good as this.
John says, Chris says he liked it better than Rogue One. Mm-hmm. And I went, Chris. Or
Yeah.
something to that effect. But then I saw it on Facebook afterwards that you basically said something along the lines of that too, where, hey, it's
Yeah,
pretty good.
well, Tony actually was the one who pointed out. He said like, well, you weren't too high on that, if I recall, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't. You know, like it's a good movie. It's not anything exceptional though. I enjoyed my time with it, but I think they learned a lesson this weekend. So
I think it's not that they learned a lesson. I read somewhere that it was possible blockbuster fatigue from fans or moviegoers. I'm like,
What would be the lesson, though, is what I'm.
right. I mean, they're saying people were worn out from Infinity War and then Deadpool, right? So then why do you want to go see
I don't see
this?
that.
I don't either.
yeah, because it's Memorial Day weekend, and you had 3/4 of the United States being hit by storms. So you know, it wasn't like they were going to the beach or anything.
That could have been why, though, too.
I think it would have been more likely that because of the rain, people would have been like, okay, I got to go to the movies because I ain't got nothing else.
Put my
to do.
life in danger to go watch a hack guy play Han Solo.
True. Actually, I liked him as Han.
Yeah, I was going to follow with that. I go in, and me and John said it after we watched it. We're like, I don't know if it was because of the low expectations, but
Yeah.
I had a good time.
It's not a bad movie at all.
And there's a major, I don't know if it would call it a spoiler, but there's like a cameo, and you're like, you should have heard this guy.
Because have you watched the other ones, the series?
I've watched the Clone Wars.
Well,
I haven't watched.
I watched Rebel.
Shh.
Yeah.
Entering possible spoiler zone.
That's all we'll say to it. But I mean, like, so I guess the context, like, did you know?
I
that was
understood.
possible? Okay.
I understood.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it didn't. Yeah,
But quiet theater, possible gasp and things of that nature. Not my boy.
What the
No.
mother?
No.
Yeah.
I would ask you to recreate, basically, yeah. Like a, yeah!
Nice job peeking.
I lean back, Chris. I'm a professional. I've only been gone a week, dude. Now, you done moved my chair. You're talking about my microphone. Now I'm peeking even after I lean back.
I'm just saying.
Can somebody cue in Adam Lambert? What do you want from me? Thank you.
I would be the one that does that.
but
I'm not gonna do that.
I'm curious as to why you think it fell below expectations.
From everything I've seen, like, it's not so much that it's a bad movie. It's the fact that, like, we saw this with all of our friends. No one was high on this movie going into it. No one was anticipating it or anything. And I think it's because in most people's eyes, there's only one Han Solo. You know, people know that. They don't need to see, unless you're doing something with Harrison Ford, which would be really impossible and impractical at this point. No one's ever going to buy it, right? As far as, oh, this is Han Solo now. And I think that's the lesson for them, because they kind of did, like, they've been doing this a couple times, and they just did it with Rogue One in a way, where it's like, even though it's new characters, it was, we're just going to take this thing that's already here and we're going to put it out there. And it did fine. It did better. It's going to end up doing better than this did. But I think
made $1 billion.
Okay. I mean, it's still though, like, it didn't do core movie numbers. You know, it's the least, before this one, it was the least grossing one. I'm sure this
I'm
one
going to ask
be
this
the
question, and
lowest
it's probably dumb, but I wonder if the folks at Lucasfilm and Disney expected it to make core movie numbers, and probably the answer is, yeah, they want as most money as possible because it's who they are.
I think there's a lot of different crowds or audiences that didn't go see it for their own reason. I think it's an amalgamation of a lot of things.
Could be.
I think there's a set of people that went, screw you, Last Jedi. I'm not going to. I need a break from this
You're
stuff.
touching on what I want. Yeah, there's that for sure.
I think that there was the soft bigotry of low expectations, where you're like, this is not Han Solo. This is some guy playing Han Solo.
See, I think though
that was that because I was in that camp.
So
I
was
went
I.
to see it anyway, and I went, okay. I wasn't gung ho about it, but the low expectations made me leave much happier.
But
So
say
we'd
like,
even see it again.
let's put it this way.
Possibly.
I
Yeah.
don't think though, like, if they had done a movie instead, say about Boba Fett,
They're
right?
going to.
Yeah, which is, that's what they keep saying. I think that would have been a lot easier sell on people, and regardless of how people feel about The Last Jedi, I think people would have turned out for that a lot more, just because there is no face that is Boba Fett.
Here's the deal.
There's
I understand what you're...
unless you're going with the guy from Attack of the Clones,
Well,
which I
that
don't
counts.
think anyone really is going to associate that actor as being like, if it's not him, I'm not going to buy into this. It's like, no. Does he have the armor on? Does he have his jetpack? Is he cool as a bounty hunter? That would be the only thing. I think you could have done that, or you could have done like a Lando movie.
They're going to do one.
Yeah, like that would have been a more interesting thing, because Lando.
I don't know if it's more interesting. It's more interesting now because you know how Donald Glover did it.
Not so much that. I mean, like, even regardless before he's cast, right? Mm-hmm. It's more of like that character is nowhere near as defined and developed to people as Han is. Like, he's got, as far as the core movies are concerned, he's got, he used to run with Han at some point, and that he is over this mining colony and all that, and he's kind of like a pimp, but you don't really know anything about his backstory as far as like all his adventures. And to be fair in this movie, as soon as he shows up, you're like, that's a much more interesting story of like how the heck he got to that seat right there. Betting and all the things he's done in the last couple of years before he's met Han. Like, that to me could be a very interesting thing, because again, the character isn't really well defined within the Star Wars.
See, I disagree, because there's gonna be a movie about Obi-Wan, and he's very, very defined.
I don't care
and
about
I think
that.
you might not care about it, but it's gonna work better because we have a person who's gonna probably play Obi-Wan and Ewan McGregor, who we know and have seen as young Obi-Wan.
Sure.
The problem with Solo is we saw a young Han Solo.
Yeah.
In the first Star Wars. So there was a big difference in the casting.
Sure.
I do agree with you in some aspects. Something like a Boba Fett movie can work. A Darth Vader movie that fills in the gap a little bit.
See, I don't think that would work out either, because I don't think you'd be able to get James Earl Jones to do a whole movie for you.
I'm just saying, in general, you might be okay with it because of the mask and the costume that people wear.
But you would say it worked if they did get him to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Billy D. Williams is 81.
Yeah.
And I read a report that he's working out like a freak.
Yeah.
Right? And that's an anticipation that he's going to be reprised as Lando
He's 81?
Calrissian. Yeah.
Wow.
He's going to be reprised as Lando Calrissian
can't tell 'cause he's
in the
a
new Star
space
Wars
man.
movie.
Yeah.
Right? If that works out fine, it's a great move. But if it's another hot mess of an old guy trying to, be a character that they once were, who knows?
You
Look,
you do a Darth Vader movie.
that makes
It's your
make it-
highest grossing Star Wars movie.
Sure. No
Highest
question about
grossing.
that.
The three that I don't think can be touched, they tried to touch Solo. I don't think you could have touched a Princess Leia movie or a Luke Skywalker movie, because we saw them when they were young. We saw them get old. That's a tough sale for
So
me.
you're
It
saying
is
they
a
could do a Yoda movie?
Yeah.
Even if they don't have Frank Oz?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this movie has time
Yeah.
to, hopefully word of mouth kind of improves it a little bit.
I would say everybody go watch it. I mean, yeah.
You don't. The next thing you have to contend with is Jurassic World on June 22nd. I think. right?
Oh, speaking of Jurassic World,
The Incredibles.
yeah, The Incredibles
Nobody
are coming
cares.
up. Hey, shut your face.
Okay.
God, I don't care about The Incredibles. I could,
I love that.
That's because you hate Brad Bird.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't know why you do, but you do. You're like Iron Giant. Screw that.
I never saw Iron Giant. Iron Giant.
Iron
You call
Giant.
yourself a Vin Diesel fan.
Do I ever?
I'm just putting that on you.
Speaking of Jurassic Park, I had a gig this past weekend, and one Tony Henderson was a guest that said gig. He walks up to me and he has me a Jurassic Park Target exclusive pop. So, shout out to friend of the show Tony.
What
Nice.
was it?
Huh?
Was it the Jeff Goldblum?
I'm not saying a word. I'm going to show it to you in person.
Oh,
You'll see.
okay.
It's the Jeff Goldblum.
You'll see.
I do know that was a Target exclusive.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much, Tony. I hope you had a good time. By the way,
That thing's already going for $100 on Amazon.
I'll say this.
don't say that out loud.
Personally, all I would like
He
them to
gave
do,
it to me.
if they are going to do more of these like side films, I personally, and I understand I'm probably in the minority in this, but I think the greater potential for them is to go out there and do something like Old Republic that is completely not related to these core 9 movies or whatever, where it's like, look, here are these people. Like, that was the best part I will say about Solo, is that it had nothing to do with outside of Han Solo and Lando, and Chewie, as far as just characters
the
who are in
Empire
there.
was a backdrop,
Yes, it was like, here is a story in this universe.
not
and
a
that's
Jedi in sight.
that was why
The
I
Force
always,
was not mentioned.
that was why I always loved the Old Republic. Why it was my favorite Star Wars game is that it is this game that is completely removed from the movies.
I think-
and it's cool because you get to explore
You're right.
all these cool things that you just can't do when you're focusing on the Skywalker.
Well, I think you're right in that the game thing can work, man. I just don't know how that works in a movie universe. I think you got to have a draw. There's got to be a reason for it to exist. And you may argue with me, well, before Star Wars, there was not a Star Wars. And the first one had to come out for everybody to like it.
Exactly.
And you could say, well, to come out with the old universe stuff, there's got to be the first old universe stuff for everybody to like. That's a tough get for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see an Old Republic Star Wars
Hey,
story.
Doesn't even have to be in the Old Republic. Just something that's it's its own thing. Kind of like, I guess, what they're doing with who is it? John Favreau. He's kind of doing something like that, right? Like,
He's doing a TV show.
oh, is he doing? Was it?
Favreau.
There's like, or was it Rain that's doing like a trilogy that's completely separate?
What are you
now?
talking about?
He's calling him Rain.
What is he talking about?
Ryan,
right now?
I don't
Ryan
know.
Johnson.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson.
He's doing a separate trilogy.
Yeah, like something like that. That to me has the greatest potential, just because it's like everyone will go in
You're
first and be
off the
like,
mark.
I don't know about this, and then
You're
if
off
it
the mark.
delivers and it's a
It
good
won't-
story, people
don't-
will shut up.
I don't want Ryan Johnson anywhere near Star Wars.
Exactly.
anymore.
You're
I just think
you have no idea the firestorm that is Ryan Johnson when it comes to Star Wars.
Yep,
And people detest, like in a
good.
almost crazy way.
they fired Roseanne today. They might as well fire Kathleen Kennedy. Get it out of the way, because that's the same.
Exactly.
She's just over there like, oh really?
check, money.
But I think
Yeah.
there is something to a Star Wars movie happening in the fall. I just think that clicks, and plus Solo it's always been to me a bad title.
Yeah,
Solo was just a dumb title.
I like.
They should've-
They should have called it The Adventures of Han Solo.
I agree with you. They should have
Period.
like probably released it either in the March time frame or like in October, something where it's like not in prime season.
Yeah.
Then it would have probably done better.
I don't
That
know.
being said, Rogue One is my favorite new Star Wars.
I love
Ooh,
Rogue One.
okay.
Rogue One is just to
You
me
like it more than Force Awakens?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're both. I think like I listed somewhere in my top 10, and I think I had Solo at like 7, or no, was it? No, there's been 9 movies total. 10. There's been 10 movies. Yeah.
Are you counting the Ewok special?
7 was Solo, and 8 for me was Rogue One.
Yeah,
And
somewhere on Facebook
I'm not huge on either.
I saw somebody say, "Hey, when you think these new Star Wars movies are bad, don't forget these gems."
Shut up.
They show all that hot mess from the 80s and stuff and
Yeah.
70s.
Oh, that's I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the prequels.
No, I love the prequels. I'll
Thank
say
you,
it on
sir.
record.
Thank you, sir.
They need to be where they are, right there.
At the bottom.
No,
of
I'm
the
not
list.
saying the list. I'm saying they need to be the prequels because that's what they are.
I mean, shout out to BK. I was listening to the Playaway podcast this morning. And
Send
he
that
was,
check.
And he was talking about. He was on the show by himself. He was doing this kind of a spoilery type thing for Solo and why it messed up. He was subtracting. He would make a criticism of the movie and then subtract $5 million. Like he was going down the list trying to subtract money, deducing here's why he's like, that's $5 million right there. That's why you lost that money. But he did say something about he wishes Han Solo would have gone back. The movie would have shown him as a child. And I was thinking, do you not remember Anakin Skywalker? Yeah. I'm like, that's just something people don't want to go back to.
I think the flow of the movie was good. I think it picked up where it was supposed to. I'm like Chris. I like that and you agreed that everything like Star Warsy was a backdrop.
I'm not mocking. He made some great points.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. And to tie it all up, Chris, if we go back, we'll invite you.
Okay. You're not going to go though. It's cool.
I'm probably going to go see it again.
Oh, okay.
So you can be a Richard out loud on this podcast. And you see what happens.
We'll see if you actually commit and come through.
I'm just saying.
I was happy.
If I get a text, I will be there unless I'm doing something else.
See, there it is. There's the old caveat asterisk.
I mean, like, yes, if I'm with my parents,
which is like randomly, okay,
I'll be there tomorrow night. So if you were to go tomorrow night, I probably will not be there.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Not going to go tomorrow night.
You're not going to go this weekend either.
You don't know that.
I'm just putting it on the spot.
No, you want me to say, hey, let's go Saturday.
But if you're looking for a good heist movie, go see it.
Or a cowboy movie. Or also
the one scene that is in the trailer where he's like got his hand on his gun.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like
a cowboy movie now.
It's kind of like
Jesus.
Well, it's like three things in there because it's a heist movie, it's a Star Wars movie with I would say the middle part, and then it's a little bit like
I think they should have called this one Han Solo Rogue One. Because he was rogue.
I would have called it Kessel Ball Run.
Kessel Ball Run.
Kessel Ball.
Anyways.
He made the Kessel Run, man. Just saying.
And now we know how.
Are we,
a drop of something.
Are we ready to drop to
Are we pivoting?
Yeah.
I'm ready to wrap up.
Okay.
That's it. That's all we needed to talk about, right?
Man, you just hate French people.
What does that mean?
What happened?
What does that mean?
I'm just going to let that sit out there, and we're cutting right.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, got it. And
bagels for croissants?
You'll see.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Topic time.
The topic is...
We have a topic this week.
Yeah, we do.
God, we gotta talk.
I gotta check. Did you send updated stuff?
He did.
Yeah.
The topic is Detroit Become Human.
So you said it.
He said it right because he played it.
Yeah, I played. I bought this game Thursday night at 9:00. When it's all solo, right? By myself.
You didn't go by yourself.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Tony bailed on me, so I went by myself.
See, we didn't know that. I didn't know that. To tie all that back up.
Well,
I assumed you had your crew that always goes and
Yeah.
I'm not making that up. And so me and John, I said, I'm busy.
You could be part of my crew if you wanted to be.
I was very busy this weekend, Chris.
Yeah.
Did we get invited to solo by you?
Technically, I think Chris did
I did.
If you want to go.
Yeah, I let them all know. I put out there, I said, hey, I'm going. Originally, I was going to the 7, and then Tony bailed on me. And I kind of looked at it. I was like, am I going to go? I was like, well, instead of going at 7, let me see if there's like a 9:30 or something like that. And I said, that way I can go pick this game up and I'll have it and I won't have to drive up here tomorrow to get it. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to go because I was looking at time. It kind of worked out. So I was just like, I'm going to do this because I really wanted to get that out of the way because I didn't know if I was leaving or not going down to Florida at that point. So that's what I did. But yeah, I got this game Thursday, went saw solo, woke up, started at about 9 a.m. Friday, and I just went and did not stop.
Hard in the paint?
Yeah, pretty much.
What'd you do immediately after waking up?
I JO'd. But after that,
whoa. Really?
I mean, what do you do?
I urinate, and then I usually go get some like orange juice or.
But you could do that and then you urinate.
No, I gotta wake up and get going.
Yeah,
long gone are the days when you wake up and Richard's at a full attention. Nah,
you're old. I can't help that.
No, dog.
Look what I did today.
I go do one of those Tom Hanks League of Their Own urinates.
I mean, I figured I had to get it out of the way.
That's some peeing. I've timed myself several times peeing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I've got Tom Hanks beat by several seconds.
Really?
It probably says something.
But Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, speaking of video games.
Yeah.
Do androids pee?
Good question.
No, they do not.
Do they fake eat food, though?
They do not.
They just walk around like creeps.
Singing Radiohead.
Like blinking, real-life looking creeps.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so those who don't know, this is the latest from Quantic Dream, makers of Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls.
You did it again.
I guess the best way to say this is that I think this is like the AAA version of what John would call a walking game, though it's not like, to be fair to his games, it's not just like walking to and from and just getting square. Like, he's always been
Walking
about
simulator like Firewatch. Horrible game.
A great game.
Great game. Much better than Breath of the Wild.
Whoa. You said that just
You
to
don't
elicit
even
reaction.
think that.
Nope.
He
it's just
just
fun to
said
say
it just to say it.
Just to troll the troller. But now, like, these games, to his credit, like, they're not just that way, like where they're just walking simulators. Like, Dave Cage takes full advantage of the use of like the 6-axis part of the remote control.
Dave Cage?
David Cage. He's from France. That's why you hate him.
David
No,
Cage.
you said you called him Dave.
I don't know, yeah, I guess David Cage, yeah.
I was just wondering if you knew him.
Yeah, do you know him
I
on
do.
a personal level?
I do. Me and him
Okay.
were
Then
close.
I guess you
like
can
Dave
call him-
Rubin.
Or like when people know Robert De Niro and they just call him Bob.
Bobby D.
I know him. I know Dave Thomas.
The founder of Wendy's?
Dave Ortiz.
Like,
Dave Winfield. I'm running out of Daves. Dave Matthews.
Dave Winfield?
No, I'm sorry. David Matthews.
David Grohl.
Dave
See how we're
Grohl.
doing that now? We switched it. We call the Daves David, the David Daves.
But like, yeah, he uses the
David
PlayStation.
Hogg? He looks like an android. Anyway.
He uses the controller to kind of consistently teach you and reinforce you like movements.
Oh, because we haven't played games before this one.
Well, it's like, for instance, like understanding, hey, there are times where you need to move the right stick in this kind of direction. So you do it like for opening doors,
I got you,
right?
okay.
And then like when you're pouring something, you have to tilt the controller, or if like you're trying to pull something, you have to actually like jerk the controller. Or like shake it up and down, whatever. Like, and it,
Running on around.
This is a
teaches
motion
you-
control
Do the
game.
hokey
yeah,
pokey. and
I
you
mean,
play
there is
Detroit.
motion control. But like what it does is it has these light chapters where it has everyday movements where it does this, because then when you actually get to the action sequences, it demands like that you do these things in very quick procession with very little cue, you know, so that's where that's the gameplay element to it. And the fact of the matter is that how well you do that determines your level of success. And the cool thing is that these games, you know, like there's no point like where you just die and then it goes, well, game over, try again. It's like, no. Oh, you died, or like someone died, or you failed. Continuing on, you know.
Explain that.
You just
Like,
wake
so
up
for
as
instance-
another robot.
Well, no, like, you know, there's 3 characters in this game.
Yeah.
They each have 3 perspectives. Like you have Connor, who's kind of like this futuristic android, like top of the line android. Like he's the guy who goes through and has all these crime scene analysis things. Like he can just look at a crime scene, see the blood, and analyze it, or fingerprints. He can recreate.
He was the guy from E3.
Yes,
Yeah.
he can like recreate a whole entire scenario of what happened as far as a crime scene just by looking at things and kind of winding back and then observing other parts of the room as far as how they've been impacted. You have that. You have Kara, who's kind of like a utility robot. Like she's like a maid. You know, you can tell like she's more of a budget model. She's not anything high end. And then you have Marcus, who is kind of like a premium model who is owned by a rich caretaker, like an old man who's like an artist, and he's the caretaker for him.
That's
yes,
Marcus?
that's Marcus, right?
Is he
there.
the one on the most of the packaging artwork?
Yes,
like they're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
And I would say he's probably he is the main character of the 3. His one is definitely the one that carries the most weight
Do you choose a character or do you just jump in?
No, like each chapter has its own character.
Boo.
So like you're consistently, it's kind of like, I'd almost call these things like, they're almost like, think of like an HBO season, like of Game of Thrones. You've got
one season, one episode will be on Jon Snow and then it'll be on somebody else.
Yeah, like the game is like 10 hours. I would say like 12 hours if you're really just going out there and exploring every little thing in there. So what you're doing is like, okay, here's Kara, what she's doing right now. Okay, let's now cut to Connor and see what he's doing. And now let's go to Marcus. And you see him, and they're each kind of doing their other things, and then it slowly starts to, intertwine. Like when will they intersect?
What was that movie with Don Cheadle?
Iron Man.
No, that's funny. He was in it, and all the stories were going together. It was a big movie.
Oh, Crash.
Yeah, it's kind of like Crash, but a video game, kind of.
A little bit, yeah.
One best picture of the year.
Yeah, that movie.
I mean, like
Don Cheadle.
Like I said, just think of Game of Thrones. Like, you got Dany over here doing her thing. You got King's Landing. You got the North, right?
Dany's short for Daenerys, John.
Yeah. I've been rewatching that show.
It's good.
Man, I'm ready for it.
It's a good show.
So ready for that.
You call her Dany?
They do.
Yeah. Because
Dany's short for Daenerys.
Yeah. Daenerys Targaryen of House Targaryen of
Daenerys.
Mother of Dragon.
I thought that was Khaleesi.
She is the same thing.
She is also the Khaleesi.
Oh.
She's got a lot of names.
She's in Solo.
Yes, she is.
She kicks.
Emilia Clarke.
She's a good person. She's a good person.
I wonder if they're like slowly just
She's
work
healthy,
everyone.
as my friend would say.
Also, it was really nice to see Woody Harrelson playing Woody Harrelson again.
I didn't take that. I thought he was.
He does his thing, which is fine. He's fine. It's fine. But I'm just like, oh, there's Woody doing Woody.
Normally, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
He was a backstabbing, conniving.
Whoa, hey.
Whoa.
We're in some territory.
Yeah, we are. We're in called Detroit human territory. I need to tighten up.
Anyways, it's seeing these three lives and starting out with the like little interactions of their daily lives, and then
let me guess, they all
something
connect.
happens, right?
They all connect.
Maybe at some point they do, but to getting back to your question earlier, like you could get to a point where Connor dies, like through your action or whatever. If you could fail, or like Kara dies, or even maybe Marcus dies, or people who are around those people die, or something happens, and it can end up having a rippling effect that affects everyone else. So
I love ripples.
So like, for instance, say like the actions of Marcus, for instance, could greatly, in the end, depending on how you play him, could greatly influence, say, what happens to Kara in her own story. Even though like they only meet even though they might not have tons of on-screen time together, those actions are tied because in the end it feeds into this one narrative, and that narrative is the idea of what it would be like in a society where all of a sudden androids become kind of the chief way of life. And then they start to grow, I guess, sentient, or whatever you want to, self-aware, right?
Side note. The voice actor for Kara,
yeah,
she's pretgy cute, and Marcus to me looks kind of like Marcus.
The big surprise for me was did you watch Friday Night the TV show? Yeah, they all look like
you see that?
Yeah, they're
Marcus,
all their voice actors.
Yeah, that's the guy from
well, look, this is him in real life.
He was in
Dr. McDreamy. What's that show?
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
He's been in a couple things I've seen him before.
Pretty cool.
And the actress, I first saw her on that Kevin Bacon show.
Veronica Mars?
Bacon Brothers?
What was that show called?
Footloose.
The Twilight Saga.
Was it Tremors?
Breaking Dawn Part 2?
Pretty sure it was Tremors.
No, it was recent. He plays an FBI
Blair Witch.
guy.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Mall Cop.
I watched it. I watched all
Paul
3
Blart.
seasons. Shut up, Sean.
The Following.
The Following, yeah.
Yeah.
She was
Kevin Bacon. Not Kevin. Kevin.
For those who don't know, also Minka Kelly's in the game. If you've ever watched Friday Night Lights, the TV show.
Dude, he was an amazing
Minka
cornerback
Kelly.
for Alabama.
She used to be married or date Derek Jeter.
Minka Kelly, cornerback for Alabama.
I remember that. That's funny.
Is she an android in this?
She does play an android. Yes.
What kind of android?
She
A
played
robot
one
android.
that used to be a sex robot.
What I laughed about a minute ago, John, Can't spoil
Right?
it, but the description,
Yeah.
one guy, his name's Hank. They say Hank is an
Hank
alcoholic
Hank is Clancy Brown.
who hates
okay.
androids.
Yeah.
That's how they
for those-
describe him.
I'll tell you, like,
He's an android that hates androids?
No, I don't know
Sean,
if he's-
remember Lost?
Yeah.
The episode where Desmond, like, they actually show his history in the hatch with
Yeah.
the other dude. What was his name?
Billy.
Kelvin on the show. Kelvin
Sean just drops names.
is
Billy.
Clancy Brown.
Oh,
That's Hank.
nice.
Yeah, they have. I mean, like, to their credit, David Cage usually goes out there and gets pretty good,
David
like
Cage.
a good assortment of actors to be in there, except for Heavy Rain,
You
where it
can't
was all
yawn.
the French people.
I can yawn if I
on
want
the
to
mic
yawn.
because it makes people think, including me,
Yeah.
that you're bored AF.
But anyways, kids, the idea is, yes, like, this game is in, was it 2038, so 20 years from now. Pretty much Detroit has become the center of the Android revolution. Like, as far as, like, you know, of course, we all know what Detroit is like today. It's pretty bad off.
That's hearsay.
I would say, yeah, there's probably only a handful of cities, like major cities in America, you could look at and go, like, Jesus, that is more depressing than Detroit.
It's depressing because of what Detroit used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
For real.
It's a city defined by an industry, and that industry, unfortunately, has passed off from pretty much America, unfortunately.
Hashtag.
But on the other thing here, this whole entire idea is that Detroit has become the center for the robot revolution because, you know, again, it needed something. So, you know, all the major manufacturers of robot in America, they went to Detroit, they built it up. It becomes this huge prevalent way of society. You know, you have androids for everything. But of course, as you do that, there comes the, I
For
think,
everything?
yeah, just about.
I have a butt wiper android.
You could have that.
How crazy with that?
I mean,
be,
Marcus
huh?
is a caretaker, and he takes the old man to the bathroom and everything. That's in the game.
Takes the old man to the bathroom.
Is
and
it like a
everything.
mini
Which is
game?
that's Land Hendricks,
Lance
Lance
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, right? He's in there.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
He's an old guy.
Yeah, he's
these
an old
days.
guy now.
Things like when I read this completely trip me out, blow my mind, however you want to say it. So the game
Don't you
is,
spoil things?
I'm not, it's, the budget was, is that 30 million like quid? What is that? Like,
It looks like pounds.
French money. So that much, right? It was based on the Quantum Dreams 2012 PlayStation 3
And
technology.
yeah,
And when they showed it, they were on a game engine that was only 50% capacity.
yeah. I remember
So that's how long this thing's kind of been in the works. It'll eventually come out in May of 2018.
the first thing they showed from it was that tech demo from 2013. I
Yeah.
remember.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You can watch all the videos. Like, it was just like a robot face on a thing talking to you. But anyways, like, yeah, as androids have taken over America, like, basically, you know, like, you're in this world now that has autonomous cars. You have androids that are, like, you know, built to work on loading docks, and all they do is, you know, lift things and stuff like that. You have androids that are salesmen. You have androids that,
That basically do everything.
like, even to the point now, like, androids are being used in sports.
Really?
Yeah.
To like be athletes in sports?
yeah. And also, like, musicians and all this kind of stuff. As that has happened, obviously something that I think a lot of people actually do fear does happen, which is, you know, obviously, as you have androids come in, they take over jobs, people get let go from those jobs, right? You know, people start to become unemployed. And since Detroit is the ground zero for all android involvement, they're the first ones to really feel like significant impacts. Like, I think here it's like alluded to that pretty much about 1/3 of Americans are out of work at this point. And it's kind of,
Androids don't
Yeah.
call in sick, man.
you see this like disparity between the rich and how that life is and how they perceive androids versus those who are struggling and have been affected by this.
I imagine it's
And you
pretty
start to
drastic.
see kind of classic themes that I think we always see, which is like when you get a bunch of people who suddenly become impoverished and there's something they can tether to an idea of why they are that way suddenly, what has caused this, they become very, you know, there's a number of people that just become very against it very quickly. So there's violence against androids. There are those who would who think they're unnatural and just need to die. And this is all before, anyone becomes sentient. But what eventually starts to happen through a series of events, basically, yes, androids start to become self-aware. I won't spoil how that happens. And it kind of, the rest of the game kind of goes into this idea of what you're willing to do for freedom, and what freedom kind of means and how you would pursue it. Like, so you have Kara, who really her story isn't so much about like the wide variety, but she's become free and she has this one objective that she wants to do. And everything is about like, well, what are you willing to do to accomplish that? Like, are you willing to steal? Are you willing to, rob people? Are you willing to, let other people die so you can protect your main thing that you care about here in this objective? You have Connor is kind of the character.
He's the top model.
Yeah, he's the one who doesn't really, well, I don't want to, let's go with Marcus. Marcus is kind of the way of, he's the guy who is kind of like, look, without spoiling anything, who's kind of, I'm leading this charge of this idea of like, we deserve equal rights. We deserve to be treated as.
That's when it gets scary.
Yeah, like as
the robots say they're equal.
We're the ones who deserve to be treated as as living beings, who have equal protections and all that kind of thing, and pushing it. And he very much is the one who decides how this will go down. As far as
we're not gonna take it.
As far as like, is he going to be violent? Is he going to be for non-violence? Is he going to be kind of just somewhere in the middle based on whatever's happening? Does he cause riots, or does he more so just do peaceful, graffiti type things? And there's a lot of different things that could be driving you. One of those for me was Minka Kelly, because as John knows, as soon as there's any chance of romance in a game, Chris is going to go explore it just to see where it goes. So, as soon as Minka Kelly showed up and I had
Mass
a couple conversations. Yeah, like as soon as the conversation.
Played that game so many times.
I had like a conversation with her. And I was like, I'm just going to bet if there's a romance in this game, you're the one. And I just like, after that, I was like, I got to follow whatever it takes to get her. It took a lot, and I don't think I got a good ending because of it.
Oh, so you did.
I burned Detroit for a lot of things.
I burned down Detroit for you.
Yeah. Well, no, but that was the interesting part to me, though, is that it did present you with a lot of conundrums. And there's always two people kind of pulling you in two different directions, and you can actually at times see both of their ideas, like as far as why they would think the way they are. And you can be a good person, or you can go for all out carnage in this game.
I've seen some photos of you going bad.
Yeah.
And your face starts to change into some sort of waxy elf looking
No.
dude.
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's not that. No, that's just how, okay. So the cool thing about the androids is like all their skin is completely adaptive. So like they can change their skin tone. They could change their hair color, all that kind of stuff as much as they want. But their true form, like when they're not programmed as anything, they can just be blank and like, it's like a plastic skin. Like you'll see if they ever shake hands, like you'll see the hands both turn to the plastic thing. And I think that's like when they're sharing data between each other directly, they can do it through that. But then, the other part of it is Connor, and Connor is kind of like the auntie of those two. He's the one who's constantly in his mind battling to do what his mission objectives are versus going rogue. And it's completely up to you where you go with that. If you just want to be good or you want to see what happens when you finally breach over. But even then, like his main thing as far as the game is put forth in the beginning is to achieve the mission. And again, like as an android, you can look at that and say there's a lot of different scenarios that can come up where you have this relationship with, as you said, with Hank, who's a detective who does not like androids at all. Like, do you do things that are going?
His name has to be he has to be Hank.
Hank. He's
Like
got
some redneck racist
an
in
alcoholic
Montana.
named Hank. Yes.
A lot of people are named Hank.
Just so
I mean,
cliche.
technically, he could be your son right now because, you know, he's not that old. He'd be like one of our kids.
The only
most
thing
likely.
worse is calling him Jedediah or something.
Yeah, he looks like he's like about 40 in this game.
Chris, I'm not 40.
Yeah, but like you could be like
Oh.
if he was born in
Chris, I'm almost 40.
he was born in like 2000, you know, right? So
Yeah,
yeah. What were you doing in 2000?
oh no.
Yeah. But anyways,
stairwell.
no, it's that idea of like, what are you going to do? Are you going to actually stick to this idea of just accomplish it and do whatever that takes? Like, for instance, would you do something that pisses Hank off if it completes your mission? Or are you going to be like, try to be, you know, you want to be Murtaugh and Riggs and make a buddy cop duo here? You know, those are both options in there.
Buddy cop duo.
Yeah. And like the cool thing is that, as I said, like with these games is as it goes forward, you start to see the ripples as far as things you've done
Again,
with each
I love
person.
ripples.
And things you've done with one character
Wait,
start
ripples?
to see how they connect and you see how they connect and affect the other characters and the paths that are open to you as you enter in the end game.
So
you know,
one of the cool things I'm reading though to touch kind
You're
of
supposed to be listening to him.
I am to tie into that. I'm about to exactly tie into that directly.
You see me doing that?
Well, because you don't have your phone out, you're not.
I always
following along.
I always get scolded when I look at my phone.
He knows what
Go
I'm
ahead,
doing.
Sean. Go ahead.
I hate you, and I hope that you really like ripples. Cage said he used charts and diagrams when writing his choices to basically see how everything would end up. And there was 5,000 or 6,000 pages of notes.
Jeez.
That he said the story was more like a Rubik's cube
yeah.
because they wanted to make sure everything eventually made sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think for the most part it does. Like, there's a couple of really, I'll say this, like, it's not the most overly serious thing ever. Like, there are some parts where you're like, okay, this is lighthearted. There are parts where it's not. And it's not like it's the greatest story ever made. It works for what it is. It's kind of just big fun. And, like, what if, I think, is the best way.
I think it's coming, Chris. I know I may be out there and saying that, but I think the robots are going to take over.
It very well could be.
We may not be alive, but
It's the one cool
Scary.
thing I actually really like about that as far as choice and progression and different paths. When you get done with every chapter in the game, there's like 30 chapters. It pulls up a flow chart and you can literally see where you broke off to different decisions and different branches that it could have gone down to.
That's cool.
And the other cool thing is you can also pull up and see how many people selected the same as you worldwide that have played the game. So you get an idea.
that's really cool.
So if you
So
want to
how
see
many people were perverted like you and decided to burn down Detroit down?
99.1. The bad part is I don't know if there was a way to where I could have not done that and I could have just done the key dialogue scene correctly to activate it. But, you know, sometimes you got to burn stuff down.
Chris's one of Chris's motivations to playing Mass Effect 2 as many times as he did.
I had to know every romance.
You call it romance. I call it.
Look, I'm like Lando. I'm what's the word?
You truly belong amongst us, amongst the stars.
Was it
like
called pansexual?
Right.
Yeah.
So
anything, anywhere, anytime.
so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Why? I mean, in order to ask this, I might want to go ahead and ask you for how many Richards you would give it.
Oh, you want me to go and say? I give it. I thought about it.
Hold up, close your eyes. Close your eyes. I'm going to say what I think. Close your eyes.
Oh, okay.
What do you think from what he said?
Oh,
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
You'll confirm, John.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay,
You're good.
okay. That's funny.
New thing. New bit.
Before I give that, I will say there are a couple moments in this game that are like it pulls in with some civil rights stuff, you know, like really going with the imagery. And I'll say this. I understand David Cage is from France. He's not American. I kind of put that in perspective. Like I was like, he's someone who is kind of like where, you know, us, like if you're looking at something that goes on in the world as far as revolution or whatever, that's historical, you have a very different view of it, of maybe how people from that nation have a view.
If they were taught anything about our history and the civil rights in France, it's not like how we got taught here, and especially not how we got taught being from Georgia, Alabama.
Exactly. Like I have to imagine, like, to put something in perspective, I did something that was very much on the plight of French people during World War II. Or World War I.
Baguettes.
It would have a very different, I think, feeling of authenticity and connection to the audience and source material than someone whose parents and grandparents lived through all that kind of stuff, and it's been handed down by generation. There are some moments here, specifically there's a scene that may or may not be a march that very much might draw on a lot of what happened in the 1960s and such.
Do they have a dream?
Yeah, they have a lot of sayings that you can say. Yeah, there's a lot of, they did have a dream. They had a lot of things that they say, and I understand like what he's going for here, and I don't put up, but I was like, it seemed really silly, and I was like, this doesn't work. Like, as far as what you're trying to build here, I was like, I understand why you put it in here, but I was like, okay, whatever. Especially with the fact that you know where this could break off to, and the way I did right afterwards, where like it went really downhill very quickly, really, really quickly. But that said, Richard Wise,
well, don't forget, there's a new book out called The Radical King.
Yeah,
about a completely different side of Martin Luther King, and let's not also forget about Malcolm X, who had a very different.
That's where I definitely felt.
And I would almost tell you that people from New York City see the civil rights movement very differently from somebody from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, I agree.
It's not just a country difference. It's how people in California see civil rights versus how many people.
So we can only imagine over in like France.
I mean,
one can appreciate the intent.
That's why I took it as. Like, I got, like, I didn't think it was coming from some bad place or whatever. I was like, I got it. I was like, this just might not be the best thing to do. And I was like, I can understand, like, that there might be some people that look at this, and who draw on those experiences, and maybe have people who live through it, or maybe themselves live through it. I don't know how many people from that era are big video game players, but I imagine, like, I can understand why they might be like, I think
the Radical King is Michael Eric Dyson. I think this who wrote that. But
cool.
There's just over the years different perspectives on what these guys believed. You know, because people are pushing back these days on the peace version of Martin Luther King, saying that's not the entire story.
Okay.
So
I find it. I don't know how it says. I find this interesting. It said 2 scenes were canceled due to their lack of clarity in how violence was portrayed. Did you find that all the violence things that turned out made sense, that they were clear?
Well, he didn't give us his Richard.
I know, but I wanted to ask that one question before the Richard.
I don't even remember what you predicted.
I mean,
he's going to have to close his eyes again.
It wasn't a 7 or a 9.
That's funny. Just for that, 10. No. But I think, well, it's hard to say because I don't know what's
every
there.
Path. Right? Is that what you're going to?
Yeah, I don't know that. Well, you're saying they got cut, so I don't know what part of the game they got cut.
I was saying,
from.
were the other ones that they left in, did they make sense? Were they clear?
Did. I mean, they did. It's kind of like, I will say this. I think the game wants to guide you to a path of being peaceful. Like, whether, but I have no idea if, like, they start mowing down robots. Does it ask you to at some point to say, when do you start to fight back, right? Like, kind of, do you just completely go for the idea of, yes, we will endure? Or do you eventually reach the moment of the shot heard around the world, right? On the other hand, like, when it came to doing the violence, the main violence in it, like, there's one scene early, I'm like, well, a little bit before the main big one.
But did you understand it, though? Because I guess, did you understand it?
Be respectful.
Okay, you got it.
No one cares about your stupid Legend
care.
of Zelda.
No, they do care about the Richards. They actually do.
But no, they were I'm trying to say, like, there's a scene I can understand where the violence tied in. like it made sense. There's another one where, like, as I said, it's kind of tied to this whole entire walk thing, march, whatever you want to call it. And like when you get to that part where the decision's made, I'm like, this doesn't make sense right here as far as while I'm doing
the imagery and your ability to contrast the imagery.
Well, it was like you just did this big thing and you did this build up, and literally you're switching from this to the complete other spectrum of.
Could that have been because of your choices though?
No.
It almost did immediately.
It asks you, do you want to do this? And then like confirm afterwards. Like, and I think that's like where, unfortunately, because of the idea is free choice, right? Do what you want. It's your story. I can understand. It's like, it's really hard to sell that off. But on the other hand, it's like, I kind of would have liked it if maybe it was something like Mass Effect where my actions prior to that had built up to like where that was the only option. Like Mass Effect did that with certain scenes. And,
2, not Andromeda.
No, all of them. Like where it would sit there and say, you can't choose this passive option because you've been a D the whole entire game, or you cannot be a D at this moment because you have been a passive person or somewhere in the middle the whole entire game. I liked that about that game. And I kind of wish there had maybe been that here where it's like, look, if you're going to be a jerk, if you're going to go down this thing of violence, you need to have committed to that path.
Let me try to understand what I think you're saying. You're saying that in the game, you're at a peaceful protest, and because of a split-second decision you can make that the game allows you to make, it can resort to violence.
Yes.
I think David Cage there is actually showing some sophistication where he understands the nature of a protest. Protests, regardless of how peaceful they are across history, across the world,
at a moment's notice,
they verge on high tension.
Yeah. Sure. I agree with you.
That's why what King accomplished was so spectacular.
Sure.
Because every peaceful protest is just teetering on that one trigger, one person, one misinterpreted act can just snap everything into oblivion.
But the thing is
French
that
Revolution.
there isn't
That's the French Revolution in a nutshell.
I would say this, you don't understand that.
I'm only interpreting what you're telling me.
There isn't that, though, because of the way the androids function and like the way this is going. It's all tied to one person.
Okay.
And
Hank,
like,
Marcus.
you don't have to, this is, as you said, this is not like, as you're saying, like, shot her around the world, or like the Boston Massacre or something like that, where just one thing happened and, now it's a S show. It's like, no, you alone make this choice. And like I said, if it had maybe been this thing where the game had required you to build up to that choice, I would have maybe had more respect. Like, okay, we're going down this thing, but I'm not surprised.
He doesn't come to it organically. It's almost like it's manufactured.
I could have been like, there's about three missions prior to this where you have interactions where you could do harm to humans and such, like in destruction, whatever. And if you played those in a way where you did that, I would not be shocked at all if you then tell me Marcus is going to literally charge and kill whoever he needs to now to get his freedom. On the other hand, if you tell me that Marcus, is been peaceful in every other turn, and now this one time, all of a sudden where he's been doing everything peaceful, and he's completely employing being peaceful for minutes prior to this, is now going to say, well, the way is violence.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a hard sell.
So you see
I can see
zero indication of even an inkling of the belief of violence is the way prior to this defining moment.
I'm saying if you didn't decide to do that.
Right.
Now, on the other hand, it could be the other way. It's like where Marcus is doing all these things to kill people or whatever, or inflicting.
Could it just be a dialogue glitch
to get his stuff done? And then all of a sudden, like, he just turns around and goes like, you know what, guys? Just put your hands up. Let them do what they will.
So one minute he's going, we shall overcome. And then the split second later going, make America great again.
Exactly.
But could it have been a flaw in the dialogue?
Come here, Rocket Man. Little Rocket Man, you're going down.
That's the second time I've asked the question.
What?
You can die.
As far
straight to violence.
Do I think it's an error of some sort?
Could it be?
No. It's
we would have to see it and we would know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Richards.
Yeah.
I would probably give this game 8.5 Richards.
Yes. Close.
8.5.
Close. High five.
So,
Confirmed.
well, that being said, and this doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
I don't buy, but you would admit
everything.
that, I mean, I think at this point, Metacritic has it overall at a 79
Sure.
or something like that.
I'll
It is.
verify it.
I checked this morning.
Did you? Could have changed.
What is, cause I don't know if you played Beyond Two Souls,
Sure.
but what is David Cage missing
David Cage.
with what happened in the first game, everything that came together in the first game? Why can't he? And look, this is by all means not a bad game according to the numbers, but what is he missing that keeps him from recapturing that original game?
Well, I don't know if he's he's built upon. I think most people think Beyond Two Souls was just jarring because it's completely, the way its narrative is delivered is completely out of order. It's that Tarantino thing.
Sure.
And it just didn't work as well because of that, from my understanding. Heavy Rain worked really well because it was something that was, even though the voice acting maybe wasn't the greatest thing ever because you had all these French people trying to be American, it worked because it was a very much like someone took a David Fincher movie and put it into a video game. And it worked perfectly because there just had not been anything like that. It's like, here is literally a video game as a movie. It is, everything is shot in a certain way and to give you a certain perspective of what's going on. It has a script as far as where it's going, very linear, and it hits notes. And I think for most people, if you even look at the reviews on this, most of them agree, who didn't like it. I think they may have had, I've definitely read some objections, either A, because of, some stories about Quantic Studios that have, come up over the last couple of years, as far as it being a workplace. There's that. There's things that Mr. Cage has said. He's kind of a very controversial dude. He says what's on his mind and he don't care what you think.
I appreciate that sometimes. Actually all the time.
So I definitely would say there's
probably
going to be,
John.
there's probably some people out there as such, no matter what Mr. Cage puts out, they're going to not be too open to it. But the other thing I have read for a number of people who maybe just didn't love the story or didn't feel it was genuine enough is that they all agree that he's kind of getting to the point where he's got the gameplay and structure down. They just want something that they connect more with, is what I'm gathering. But those who actually enjoy it, like myself, I don't think it's as good or as big of an achievement as Heavy Rain was. I think that's a really hard one to top. Any game that asks you, are you willing to cut off a finger for a son, is hitting
what?
Yeah, that game is.
I'm kidding. As of right now, Metascore 79, user score 8.7. So
users like it.
Users are okay.
Yeah,
not too bad.
It's not too bad. I mean, I think I'm interested to see what he does next. I hope it doesn't take 6 years.
Probably will, dude. He seems to.
Was Beyond that long?
Beyond was 2012. Yeah, I believe. Yeah.
Shame.
But I hope it's good. And I mean, if you like these kind of games, the biggest thing I would say is if you don't like these kind of games, there's not going to be anything here that I think will suddenly win you over, aka John.
These aren't my style.
Hey, just to give you an update, Beyond is 72 on Meta.
Yeah.
With an 8 user. Just for some perspective, Chris.
What about Heavy Rain?
I can check that.
Heavy Rain is in the 90s.
Yeah, I think
high 80s, low 90s.
Is that what you're going with?
If you are a fan of these things, I think that if you have a PS4, you owe it to yourself to pick this up, just because you're not going to find a game with this kind of budget and dedication.
Yeah, 30 million quid
available.
Yeah.
So, did we get that score?
We did. 78 Meta.
What? For Heavy Rain?
And 77.9 user.
Wow.
Hold on a second.
Oh, that's PS4. Look for the PS3 one.
Okay. Can do that
That
for
might
you too.
be because, again,
Wow.
I think, like I said, he is, I don't think he's
Why would
as,
you downscore a game that...
I don't think he's as controversial
Ooh.
as the dude from, that did Kingdom Come Deliverance, but he's definitely someone that
You have to tell me later some stuff that he might have said.
You
don't have to tell me now.
Yeah, I'll tell you. But it definitely, I think,
We don't want to be offensive on this show.
I don't want to say that I can tell you why any one person would do it, but I definitely think when you take that industry and you do certain things, it's kind of hard to believe that everyone's going to not have a bias, right? You know,
Heavy Rain PS3, Meta 87.
There you go.
User 7.7.
Ooh, they fell as overvalued. You guys want to do some news?
Yeah, let's go ahead and not wrap this up.
Hot off the press and straight to your ears. Weekly Games Chat presents the news.
Look at all that peeking. So much peeks.
Someone's peeking.
Hey, I like to peek. I like to peek.
Where did I
These
put the
things are
actual
making
news?
my ears hurt.
Take them off.
I like hearing my own voice.
Well,
Take it off.
You got to get some not bootleg headphones.
These are Sony's.
They're the kind that push on your ears instead of resting over your ears.
Oh,
Or you could just take them off.
You know, I have to be honest on this first story. When I first read this the other day, I was like, Ted DiBiase died?
He was just in town.
Oh, okay.
He really was just in town.
And then
he's the $1 million man.
Yes.
John.
Back when that was a lot of
Right.
money.
It still is a lot of money.
No, I can loan it to you today.
I still can't believe he was the one who had the Undertaker.
I almost want to call your bluff and say, let me borrow $1 million. $1 million. Sorry, Chris. Was that,
a check.
I got you.
was that too long for the 30 seconds? We're
Actually,
good?
you know what? I pulled out Comfortable on
Did
the
you?
playlist from that album.
He
With,
pulled
one
out
G. Sanders.
comfortably without wrapping up.
See, Lil Wayne is.
Thank you. He's the guy that got his card revoked last year as well.
You're supposed to say he's the guy who does the theme song for Undisputed on FS1 every day at 9:30 with Shan Sharp and Skip Bayless.
I prefer Get Up. That show's way better than Undisputed.
No.
Oh,
Just because
And then the one after it, First Take,
First Take's the
with
first
Stephen
one.
A.
No.
And,
Oh, you're talking.
and Max, Get Up, and then First Take.
I will do. No, I do.
Yeah, you do. You do Fox because you're weird.
Dude, they got all the good people now.
No, they don't. They
Yeah,
got
they
the
do.
washed up has-beens.
No, that's like the premium talent.
Kind of like me and you.
Like, because it used to be ESPN's me.
Just kind of like me and you.
Yeah.
Screw
it used
John.
to be the head programming guy from ESPN left because they weren't paying him, and they just
Dude,
all said,
ESPN
well,
cut
go.
like half of their talent.
Yeah. And they all went to Fox.
Some of them did.
Like, most of them. I mean, the good ones. But I just kind of like, I kind of look at it like, Shan Sharp's just the most entertaining. He's way more entertaining than Stephen A. Smith is. When I hear him just go, skip, and then pull out the Black and
I'll tell you
Milds
this.
and the Henny.
I tell you this. I see what you're trying to say, but I actually like.
Plus, they have Chris Bouchard.
I like Skip getting switched out with Max Kellerman, and I love the chemistry that Max and Stephen A. have.
See, I hate both Stephen A. and Skip. I hate those two, both of them,
Yeah.
equally. I like Shan Sharp.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp is really good,
And I
I'll
love
give
the
you that.
Herd. I miss that's the
I
most.
don't miss the Herd.
The biggest thing I miss daily is having
John's back.
having to having to listen to what's that stupid show on ESPN radio now?
Paul Feinbaum?
No, the noon one.
So Sean, you want $1 million?
Dan Lebitard instead of
That's
the
Chris's
Herd.
checks.
No, it's not.
You know, if you use that, you have to buy it.
That's forgery.
Yeah.
You just forged.
I've done nothing.
Anyways,
I've done nothing.
no, I hate listening to Dan Lebitard. I love the Herd.
Oh yeah, you've never liked Levitard. I don't mind him.
I hate him. I like the Herd because I don't always agree with it, but I always find it interesting. And I like the fact that he brings on a lot of opposite opinions to his own. Like, and we'll sit there and let them talk. And
Why'd
say
you go
what they
into
want. I don't know.
a
I just
pose when you did that?
That's what I do. First off,
Yep.
we talk about video games. In memoriam, Ted Dabney. Dabney.
I think it's just Dabney,
Yeah,
Chris.
Ted Dabney, the co-founder of Atari and one of the first important pioneers in video games, passed away at 81. Video game historian friend Leonard Herman announced through Facebook that Dabney had passed, stating, "Your legacy will live on a long time." Dabney is partially responsible for the first video arcade game known as Computer Space and continued through Atari to create Pong and beyond. Additionally, unfortunately, John Total Biscuit Bain has passed at age 33. Total Biscuit was a massively popular and influential video game creator who made his success through YouTube.
Critic.
I
meant to say critic.
Yeah. I know he's like probably what used to be until he couldn't do anymore. The most popular shoutcaster for, I think it was League of Legends. If not, it's Dota. One of them two. He was originally diagnosed in 2014 with bowel cancer that eventually spread to his liver and spine last year. He continued to make videos up until closely to his death. I was reading, I remember it was about a week or so ago that he had just posted a video saying, hey, I'm not going to be reviewing anything anymore. I'm just going to chill, be with my wife, and I might put some Let's Plays up, but that's about it. So
that's sad.
Yeah, it sucks, but
we should probably end with in memoriams for future notes. Can we get the energy back up? Maybe you think?
I'm not depressed.
Oh, are you Andrew House just then? I'm not depressed.
I'm not depressed at all. May they both rest
but
in peace.
the Total Biscuit thing is very sad to me. And Dabney, dude, anytime you can go back and you're like a co-founder of Atari, dude,
yeah,
like you're kind of legit in the industry, right?
He had some up and down years, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Battlefield 5 details. Battlefield 5 is coming.
Yeah.
And it will be on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. The game has a release date of October 9th and will be in World War II. It will have a single player campaign. The game will not feature a premium pass. All post-release content will be available to players for free. Yeah, I think most people are wondering, while they're saying it's not going to have a premium pass, like it's not going to have, like
I think they're just spreading goodwill for Battle.
Well, they're not going to do loot boxes. Yeah, they've already said that.
I mean, just the same. I think they're really trying to spread goodwill for what.
They're not going to try to shelter people off from expansions, but I definitely do not believe that they're not going to have something that allows you to pay the money for something. Like, just because that's been in every Battlefield and you got to make money, right? But definitely smart on their part to, say no loot boxes, none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
and you said October 9th. It was actually October 19th.
Sorry. Yeah.
I think that is a week before Red Dead. Am I crazy on that?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's...
Yes, I'm crazy, or
no,
yes, that's
you're
right.
right. It's right. Like, a lot of people are saying it's likely to get lost just because of that, because you think, like, it's a week after Call of Duty, and then now you're going to have this, and then, the week after that is Red Dead.
It's hard to see the Red Dead trouncing unless they had some sort of multiplayer component.
They do.
They will.
But to what extent?
We'll see.
It was huge the first time.
Cowboy racing?
No, they
Lasso
had a
Mike
huge...
Bull.
they had Red Dead Online the first time.
Yeah, John.
That was huge. That was why people loved that game.
All right.
Yeah,
saying
John.
it was huge is probably not...
15 million people bought that game, John.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, that's what I think it's like, you guys don't seem to understand this thing, like, of Rockstar has pretty much become the most dominant
going into
video
defensive
game
mode about this game again.
Developer. And it's like, I understand exactly why everyone's fearful of this game. They should be fearful.
But you're putting a tombstone on every game that gets released within 7 days of this one. I mean, I just think at what point, I mean, not even Battlefield 5 can exist.
I'm sure there'll be a group. I'm sure it'll do fine on PC just because PC players.
It'll do fine.
Because one, Red Dead won't be on PC, and two, I think that'll have its core group. But I definitely think
two things are going to happen.
The larger group of people, the people like who just like FPS games, if they're going to probably buy the first one that comes out, which is Call of Duty, I don't think they're going to turn around 7 days later and buy Battlefield. We saw this story once before, and its name was called Titanfall 2.
Two things are going to happen.
You comparing Battlefield to Titanfall?
No, I'm saying like when you have things sandwiched in, I think the most popular thing runs.
I'm either going to have two emotions.
Yeah.
I'm either going to be sick to the stomach when this game does good, or I'm going to be slightly elated with joy when it doesn't do as well as he thinks.
I think it will do
Either
fine.
way, it's going to do well. But you really giving it a nice virtual Richard stroke.
Oh, you're talking about
week to week. Yeah. One thing that everybody was wondering about Battlefield, and it may not have been on your radar, was it going to have more of a like a Fortnite, vibe to it?
Yeah.
And they got a grand operations mode, which is new. And you go through these phases. And apparently on the last phase, there's something called last man standing that happens.
Operations were in the last one, remember?
But
yeah.
But not like Fortnite Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that they were going to include it. When the aspect is the last phase on the grand operations is called last man standing, where you only have one life and a limited amount of ammo. So the first team at that point to eliminate everybody wins. If you play,
I get what they're going for here. It's like, to me, I'm sure what it is like for what they do, right?
Right.
It would be really hard to make something that is a battle royale game unless they really dedicate pretty much all their resources.
I mean, this was a big rumor leading up to these games have that. They did bring back single player with war stories. That was a big hit. And there was one other thing that I read that I thought was very cool.
Yeah. There was another story for it.
There's something called live service, Tides of War.
Yeah.
I don't know
what that is.
a lot on it. I think you can find it online, but those were the three things I wanted to make sure I brought up today.
Additionally, though, female characters, in response to criticism over female representation in recent Battle 5's reveal, DICE has indicated that the studio is prioritizing player choice, inclusion, and diversity for the upcoming game, but the highest priority is fun. According to DICE's general manager, Oscar Gabrielson, player choice and female playable characters are here to stay. This controversy arose after complaints from a vocal group of gamers spoke out in a protest of a woman on the cover of the box art, as well as representation of female British soldiers in the reveal trailer. People will complain about this crap. Yep. I don't care.
Well, I don't care either.
Yeah.
And I want you to remember I said that when I say the rest of it.
Sure.
I think I've been kind of tracking this, and people calling it a vocal minority.
Sure.
Look, if there were no, and I didn't really fact check this, but IGN did.
Oh.
If there were no female soldiers during World War II who fought for the British or the U.S., who were in the battle theater, and then you call out people who say that this is inaccurate, and the only suggestion that you say to them is, well, you're obviously a sexist pig. That is the media operating in bad faith. I read an article for IGN saying that, listing all the unrealistic things that the game does.
Oh yeah,
which is not a valid comparison in my point. Look, I don't care if there's female playable characters. I want everybody to understand this. I don't play the game. I don't care. But I don't delegitimize people who do, who claim that this is historically inaccurate. IGN's response was, female characters in war during World War II is the most accurate thing that this game will do. And what they did to cite it is every example they cited was Russian female snipers, as if to suggest that that was something that disproved the point of those who complained, or cited when in fact no one suggested. I mean, the lady in the trailer had a British accent. She didn't have a Russian accent. So I begrudge an industry who immediately goes after people who make an observation and a complaint about it in bad faith. That the only reason they could possibly cite such a thing is because they are sexist and pigs, and this is a boys' club. And I'm just really sick of the media going after people for just making a claim of fact, because facts are sexist, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, but then we have the exact same. Then we have the same thing with Kingdom Come Deliverance. Because remember, like there was
the same thing with The Witcher 3, if you recall.
Well, yeah, like always, and like we had it with like Kingdom Come. Like everyone was like, "Look, there's no black people in this game because it's Bohemia in 1492." And then a bunch of people came back and they said, "Well, actually, there is." Right. And but I understood the guy's point. It's like, yeah, but on the other hand, we're talking about a very small part of Bohemia, and it would have been rare to see. And I'm kind of like in the same way, like, I don't know if there are any women there. It doesn't matter. It's like,
you're right.
It's more of like, look, I understand. you're trying to make a game where people can see themselves in it. So if you want to make a female character,
of course,
go right ahead. Who cares? It's a game.
But EA handled this correctly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They said, look, we're not saying you're wrong. The media said they were wrong.
Sure.
EA said, you're not wrong, but just worry about the fun.
Yeah.
That's all. Have fun.
I'm trying to imagine if they would not have included female characters.
I don't know. I mean, and look,
You know what I
somebody,
mean? Like-
Well, there was controversy back when Call of Duty first did or whatever, and like everyone's like, it doesn't feel right to shoot a woman in the face in a gun and war, and they're like, well, you can't have both.
Yeah, you can't.
that was a chief complaint from Tomb Raider. They're I get really uncomfortable when she gets poked in the head with
play
spikes.
the game. Right?
It's a video game meant to have fun, and we live in a world where there's inclusion and there is diversity really at the forefront of things.
I'm just saying that the people who say that this is historically inaccurate,
Right,
which look,
sure.
I haven't.
They're all historically
I haven't.
right.
Fair enough. listen. I haven't dove deep into it to say
Ever. Oh, what?
that it is historically inaccurate. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm taking them at their word that it is historically inaccurate. Why do you have to attack critics online in bad faith?
Right.
Why do you have to assume that because they pointed it
I
out,
agree.
it's
Wait.
because they are basement dwellers eating Doritos?
Why-
And that's
why-
it.
You mean, why
just
do we have
arguing
to try to label people as a group and narrative and like completely presume an extreme about them instead of just treating them as individuals and saying they
No.
might have a different reason for wanting things?
Why does a media
Yeah.
do that? Because that's
Why do people in the media do that? Yes.
Because I think the media in this, and look, the video game journalists, they'll
Yeah.
never hire me if I ever applied for a job because I'm on record being very critical.
Sure.
But to me, video game journalists in this situation, folks on Twitter, they're the ones that are the bad actors in this entire story, in my opinion.
To some degree,
Because you simply suggest that because I point out historical inaccuracies, that I'm a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal who hates women.
Well,
That's
I
it.
mean, I would say this. There's probably people in the group that you could actually look at their comments and be like, well, that's like not just having objections. That's something else, right?
Sure.
And those are the ones you should call out. If you're going to call out them. But yeah, I definitely agree. On the other hand, you shouldn't also just condemn everyone. You know, you should let them be judged. If someone wants to actively promote this idea that they're just against women being in games.
The game looks
that's a different
amazing,
thing.
and this character in the trailer, she has a hook.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
It remind me very Dishonored.
Yeah.
It's a video game.
Exactly.
Are you telling me that?
No, I'm just talking. I happen to be looking at you now because Chris moved our seats around.
He doesn't have to look at me.
But it's.
I agree. It's a video game, but
I mean,
don't forget,
like
it's a video game.
I'm just
It's a
sitting here,
video
and all I can
game.
think about is let them not have put some sort of diversity aspect in the game. There would have
I
been
hear
another
you,
group
man.
Yeah.
saying,
I hear you.
It's
"We're
like,
the
no matter
women."
what.
You can't win, and that sucks.
Exactly.
But
You
if
cannot
this,
win.
But if this is a Battlefield game taking place in the near future, that's fine. But I don't begrudge people who have a problem with using diversity to lie about World War II to make everybody feel good.
I got you.
Look, they want to do what they want to do, and I hope it's an amazing game. I really mean this. I don't have a problem with it, but I just have a problem with people who just can't let it go. You have to assign or attribute motive to people who point out things that they find disagreeable
So you're
about
saying
it.
there are people on the internet who just rush to find
Rush
and
to
attribute.
judgment. Yep.
It's not, but it's
far,
not people
like-
on the internet.
No,
It's-
I kind
it's
of like
the-
mean
it's video game media.
No, but I mean, like, to me, no offense, this is the internet. Especially like
Sure.
this is
Yeah,
the
you're right.
Twitterscape, right?
It is the internet.
And it's not just something that's just beholden to the media. It's
Twitterscape.
something, it's something that literally just people online, instead of actually having a thoughtful long-term conversation, they would rather use memes. They would rather just presume the worst of you, and they'd rather just categorize you because they don't want to take the time to actually figure out what the heck your own opinion and motives are.
Hey,
They don't-
are you okay?
Yeah.
They don't want the free exchange of ideas.
Somebody been bothering you, dude?
People touch me.
Hey,
I mean, like my memes, the only memes I post like sports memes because I don't mind trolling James Harden when you go 0 for 29 in a series on 3-pointers or whatever it was. Like, I don't have problems with that. I'm not talking about an opinion, but if there's one thing that really pisses me off is like when people are trying to make points and they don't actually put a point, they just put a meme.
Yeah.
Or they just copy a Twitter post and that's it.
Only memes to Chris.
Oh, please.
Speaking of that,
But I got a
LeBron
joke.
sucks.
I got a joke.
He's a legend. He's a goat.
Why do you not give Elsa a balloon?
Oh,
What happened?
because
She'll let it go.
thanks, Tinley. Next up, Nintendo's new bundle. Nintendo Japan has announced a new cheaper Switch bundle that only includes the basic unit, 2 Joy-Cons, and wrist straps. Missing from the original bundle is the dock Joy-Con grip, HDMI cable, and power charging cables. Nintendo is calling the new bundle a second set, specifically for households that already have a Switch and a TV-focused accessories. According to Nintendo UK, this is strictly a Japan-only product. However, one could see the value of bringing this bundle to other markets. It definitely makes sense to me that they're doing this in Japan first, because those people don't care about playing games at home and have not for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I think this would be a smart strategy to put
Especially
in the
if
US.
they're already selling the,
maybe.
if you do want a dock, you can get a dock.
Yeah, Nintendo
If you want a
has,
grip, you can get a grip.
right.
You know?
Nintendo has claimed that they want multiple Switches in a household.
Sure.
This is the way to do it without charging you for a dock and all the other stuff.
I agree.
You have it all. So I hope this
It's almost
this comes
a la
to the US.
carte-ish on how
Yes.
you wish to purchase your second Switch.
Ooh, a la carte.
Did they
Ish.
They didn't say a price, did they?
Well,
$74.
they attributed it. Philip Mewson from Nintendo Voice Chat was saying that it was equivalent to about $45 cheaper if it came to the US,
Okay.
which in a way is not
So say it's
I mean,
like
'cause
$250.
something
It can't
like
be
that.
$250.
It doesn't make sense.
The dock is
Yeah,
$90.
yeah. I hear you on
Hey,
that.
let's get excited
The
at
H-
John right now.
The docking
because
station
he is the guy
point.
telling us about
Yeah,
it.
the docking station is what, $80?
You're a Nintendo fanboy. You're just
The
covering
grip is
for them.
30, you know, and
Everything you're saying is a lie.
All I'm saying is I think if they brought it over to the US, that's only a yen comparison, but if they brought it over to the US, I could see them dropping
Yeah.
$60 or
Okay.
something. I could see $60.
I could see a $199.
I would think to me it would have to be $199. I don't
that
think
thing
people
would
would accept it
sell.
otherwise.
Yeah.
It would sell so much.
Oh, it's swell. It
Hey,
smells so sweet.
It would be
Speaking
so
of things
selling.
that Nintendo is trying to sell, Mario Rabbids DLC,
Oh, yeah.
Donkey Kong, along with Rabbid
that
Cranky
game,
and
John.
Rabbid Peach, are coming to Mario Rabbids' new DLC called Donkey Kong Adventure. The trio will explore an island with 4 new environments. The DLC brings brand new moves to the game, along with close to 10 hours of additional content. The DLC is part of the game season pass and is expected to arrive in the spring.
I get the impression
Spring is
that
like over just about.
I mean, that's what I read. I don't know
how to tell you this. Monday was like the unofficial start to summer.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
June 20th is the start, the official start. They're on the clock.
I was about to say, I wasn't sure if they were trying to say it's coming this year or if it's actually coming in 2019, which is late. It would be late.
Yeah, that doesn't make
It was
sense.
later than they promised, if that's the case.
Well, either way,
But
you
it's,
go ahead.
But
I'm
it's
never late, John.
But apparently, it's a Donkey Kong storyline,
Donkey
pure and
Kong.
simple. It's not. I don't think it. From what I've read, I don't think it has Mario or Luigi in it,
Ah,
which is very interesting. 10 hours.
Yeah, that's
10
nice.
pretty good.
hours.
It's a good game,
Pretty
Chris.
good.
And it's the one regret you should have.
Oh, it is.
I mean this was the
They should put it
biggest
out on PC.
surprise for me in 2017.
It was definitely, I hear, better than Breath of the Wild. I've heard that was
I
part
did
of
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Breath
Hey,
of the
John.
Wild and Mario
And they
Super
must have,
Odyssey.
they must have
They were the
dropped
two best games.
that Calamity Ganon fight if
Yeah.
you beat it.
Top selling games for April, according to NPD, are God of War, Far Cry 5, MLB 18 The Show, the Labo
Whoa.
Variety Kit,
Whoa.
Donkey Kong Country, Mario Kart 8, Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty World War II, Super Mario Odyssey, and NBA 2K18. I think I read that PS4 was the top selling console and that now Far Cry 5 is the top selling game of 2018 with Call of Duty World War II and NBA 2K18 be the highest selling 12-month revolving for the United States.
Yeah, God of War's got 5 million so far,
Yeah.
at least for the last month. I was very surprised. I think you were reacting
That's
to
already the
Labo.
highest selling one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very encouraging because when it first launched, I thought it was a dud.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I thought it was a dud as far, well, maybe from a selling standpoint. I think it truly is one of the things, if it gets in your house,
It's
you're going
word
to,
of mouth is going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
This. Plus, you've got what, four
Nintendo
titles on
the top 10.
Not that we care. Not that we're
Oh, we totally don't
biased.
care about.
Yeah, you guys are
That-
both biased. I would more so point out, I think there's
You've
probably
made us biased.
I would say there's
And
probably
look-
a drop after MLB 18.
But look at this. It's like I was saying, and we'll see this change. But God of War, and it was a new release, just like Far Cry 5. That's when Grand Theft Auto drops below 5.
And then it'll go back up.
Then it goes back up in the top 5.
Yeah.
When there's no major releases.
Detroit Become Human.
No threat at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be number 1. Sea of Thieves expansion details. The Hungering Deep will introduce a number of permanent new features.
That's the new name of my Richard.
It will introduce a number of permanent new features to Sea of Thieves framed around a special time limited campaign. The campaign will introduce the Bilge Rats and Merrick, a bard who brushed with the unseen horror and lived to tell.
The tail.
Yes, thank you. Players must, quote, untangle this groggy recollection of events and hunt the mysterious monster for special.
So word of mouth was
I can't
last
wait to
week
hear
him
you
sitting
say-
there, right?
Yeah.
I've been pretty good
I
today.
mean, on point, right? Last week. This week he's back to his old tricks.
Well,
I can't help
I'm
it
gonna-
that he
I'll make you
doesn't
nervous.
know how to write.
I'm going to be listening.
Go out of the room.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Only so I can hear you say
That.
the Hungering Deep
Yeah.
is my new, for my Richard.
It's going to be great. I can't wait till you hear it again.
The
Anyway.
Hungering Deep.
I saw a story on this. I don't know if it's out now. Is it out now?
What?
The Hungering Deep. I know it's free.
Do you want to see it? I mean,
And it's free.
it's sometimes.
No, I don't think it's 29th.
Yeah, I've heard-
the 29th is what so today.
Today. Yeah.
Shoot, is it out?
I
Sean?
guess so. I heard I saw something on Polygon on it, and
Yeah.
it seemed like they were like, "Hey, this is actually giving what people were."
Yeah, I've heard
asking.
good things.
So maybe I need
this
to go
is just
back.
this is just proof that Sean keeps us from being NPR
Exactly.
every week.
Death Stranding gameplay. Mads Mikkelsen has become the latest person to tease an aspect of how Hideo Kojima's next game will play. He says the whole concept revolves around, quote, collaboration from different people from different parts of the world. More riddles, but hopefully a full reveal will be at E3. That was one of my predictions.
I laughed out loud during one of the days I was gone, because you remember we had said, "Where's Days Gone? Like, what is Sony doing with it? We haven't heard about it." And then not long after that, in the mail,
Is a cover story.
Yeah,
for
I
Days
told you
Gone.
that was what I was thinking. Like when you were like, I haven't heard anything. I was like, I literally just heard something. That's what it was. It was that Game Informer. That was their cover story for this month.
They got to lose that hat, man.
no,
Stupid hat.
No.
going backwards.
we don't know why it's backwards. We don't know if he's going to turn it forwards, John.
You're just hoping that this ends up being like a Sons of Anarchy tie-in.
No, I don't. But I do think Days Gone is going to really be awesome.
I hope it's good.
I hope so.
Death Stranding. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Death Stranding.
This whole thing,
But Hideo,
my attention was
Hideo
piqued.
Kojima approves you're talking about this right now.
Well,
no, he
cares?
doesn't.
They probably don't.
He knows his
so what do you see in this?
Uh-huh.
A social? Is it a social media aspect? Is it an online game? Is it co-op?
No,
I don't know. That's why I predicted that.
You were too busy looking at your phone.
You're talking about Death Stranding?
I am.
yeah, no. I don't think it's going to be online.
Look at what he said.
Well, they kind of had an online component.
They're
with,
going to,
there.
collaboration from different people in the game.
It could be like Dark Souls, where like maybe you leave messages or something. I don't know. You know what I do think? I think we'll find out once they get that gameplay reveal that I predicted.
I think it'll be delayed.
I mean,
honestly,
It's not even doesn't even have a
but it
release
doesn't
date.
have a release date. I was like, how's it going to be?
I'm
delayed?
telling you now. I know I missed the E3 preview show.
Uh-huh.
They're definitely talking about Death Stranding there.
That was my
Sure.
prediction. Is
Yeah.
that
Days
they
Gone is going to get a release date at E3.
My prediction was that they will do the first actual gameplay reveal, like a demo,
Yeah.
and then
I-
afterwards they'll say that it's coming target like fall next.
I feel the
Next year.
Hungering Deep.
You will.
Um,
Girthy.
speaking of DLC, John, Far Cry 5 DLC, Hours of Darkness, will launch
My game
on
of the
June
year.
5th for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. It will cost you $12 if you want it. It is the first post-launch DLC and is set in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. Wendell Red Redler, a Vietnam veteran from a Far Cry 5 side mission, makes his return in the DLC as a playable character.
Apparently, he's freeing some fellow POWs.
Did you ever beat that game? You're the one person.
I beat Breath of the Wild.
I'm going to call you boy now until you beat that game.
It's
not fair.
Boy.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
That's the new standard. If you haven't beat something
listen.
that you're so hype on,
Listen, it's boy.
boy.
It's very sharp, and it's not boy with a
Well, no,
southern
actually,
accent.
this time it's got to be that because we're talking about game in Montana. Boy, why didn't you beat that? Yeah, see?
Oh, Wendell Red.
Madden 19. EA has announced that Madden 19 will be released on the Xbox One and PS4 on August 10th. Terrell Owens will be featured on the cover box art. I believe that's the premium version they're talking about. They haven't said who's on the regular yet. That premium version will
Catch your breath, buddy. You good?
Yeah. The premium version is going to cost you $80 and offers a 3-day early access, 12 gold team fantasy packs, an elite legends player for your ultimate team. EA has promised upgrades to connected franchise and improved player animation.
Who's Terrell Owens? Just
Terrell?
kidding. I'm kidding.
I should not have looked at you that fast, should I?
An old San Francisco 49ers fan is like, don't you say that. Oh, he has a Shark Tank above his bed.
That's how he rolls.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
There you go. They
that
love that
sounds-
noise.
that sounds
Yeah,
great.
That just sounds
You know?
great on. Everyone really loves you.
You're such a menace to this podcast.
Why do you just hate
You just open
everyone?
drinks. You just yawn on the mic.
Yeah.
You tap on things.
I gotta say this. I've been getting back into the NBA 2K grind. EA's gotta sell this Madden to me before I run out and buy it.
What?
Otherwise, I'm waiting at least till like we get to November to buy it because
Black Friday sale, right?
yeah, because I've just had too many this year. While I enjoyed this year and I enjoyed
Day one.
Day one. Commissioner of a league again. Henry. Everybody's back
Day
in.
one, days gone.
I'm day one.
First
days gone.
one.
And he's going to name a player called the Hungering Deep.
There you go. No, unless they sell it, they got to have something because right now, this year, especially as I play like things like NBA 2K, I'm like, this is still missing stuff. What did you show 'em?
You're going to get it.
Oh, is that the 3DS?
Get it. It's the
No,
2DS.
It's a 2DS XL that looks like
It looks
Let me
good.
see.
gorgeousness.
Will you show it to me?
Will I? Let me get it bigger for you. Level 7, right, Chris?
That's probably better than
Than
Breath
what?
of the Wild. Kingdom Hearts 3 delayed. Just kidding, says this D named John. But the demo will be available at E3 at the Square Enix booth. Square Enix has announced on Twitter that fans will finally be able to go hands-on with the game at the developer's booth. So good for
You
that.
see, Chris, I love you,
Yeah.
but I wish you'd have done Kingdom Hearts 3 delayed and then paused.
You know,
Let
for
it
comedic
marinate.
for
I'm
comedic
not-
effect.
I'm not here.
Marinate.
No, I'm not
You
here.
need to be. They
If you
care.
want these moments, you have to practice.
He did.
He didn't. He just put 3 dots.
That
You
symbols-
always pause between the headline and the notes.
And,
No.
the one
You
time you
always
didn't,
do.
you were hungry and you wanted to get out of here fast. You know what? This is why did I come back to this.
Maybe it's my take on the joke, which is that it was not a great joke.
You know, they say comedy
So I
is
went to-
subjective,
yeah.
John.
That's what I hear.
You know what's not subjective? Law. Such as when you sue someone. Like PUBG. PUBG is suing Fortnite.
I should
PUBG
have put PUBG is suing my team.
PUBG Corp and the studio behind Battlegrounds has reportedly filed a lawsuit against Epic Games for copyright violation over its popular battle royale game Fortnite. Injunction has been filed with the Seoul Central District Court alleging copyright infringement against Epic Games Korea. The suit is designed to determine whether Fortnite was copied from PUBG. PUBG Corp has been contemplating this course of action since September of last year.
We reported that.
Yeah.
We did. If you had listened in September, thank
My
you.
guess is
Thank you for listening.
If I had to guess, this gets sold behind the scenes and they get a wonderful fat check from Epic.
If you remember, And maybe you don't. Maybe you do. I don't know, Chris. But the first time I played Fortnite, I went, oh my God,
This
it's
is
just
PUBG.
like PUBG.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where they're coming
But different. So, I mean, I get it.
from. Yeah.
And John, if you played online games with friends and had fun and memories made, you would know exactly what I just said because you would have been there.
I played Sea of Thieves in a round of
That's
arms with you.
terrible.
You fell off the boat drunk, if I recall, or was that Mike?
That's Mike.
Mike fell off the boat
Yeah,
drunk.
Mike was getting hammered on the
At the
boat.
time, Chris, you seem to be kind of the defender of the
PUBG.
sentiments of PUBG.
Yeah, I totally get where they're coming from, and I mean, it kind of shows. It's like you took exactly their formula and you put out a game and you used it off of assets that are built on the Unreal Engine or whatever. So, like, you know, I can understand. It's like they already had a very close relationship, and now all of a sudden it's like it's kind of like think of like Sega and EA. Back in the day when EA reverse engineered the Genesis and were trying to bypass them on everything, like there could have been a huge legal battle over that.
So is the difference to you is like we were tight or?
Yeah, I think so. And like, I think, you know, I understand like, you know, Fortnite's the most popular game in the world. I'm not surprised at all by that. So you could make a case.
I'm a little surprised by it.
It's a free play game from Epic.
I think when they were contemplating it in
Battle
September, Fortnite wasn't Fortnite like it is
was
now.
not Fortnite.
Yeah.
And they thought, well, this thing, let's keep our
Let's
eye
see where
on
it goes.
We're still PUBG. Well, lo and behold, Fortnite starts climbing up the ranks. They start making more money. They're seeing charts and money analysis type things, and they're like, wait a minute, all right, we can't let this little kid get away with stealing our stuff like this.
Yeah.
This is not an argument for me. I'm asking you a serious question. What is the difference? Because I just want your thoughts on it. Because I've been curious. Because I don't know much about this. What is the difference between DayZ going after PUBG versus PUBG going after Fortnite? If that were to be the case.
Well, DayZ, when DayZ was done and he did his mods in DayZ and all that, that was done on that engine. When he decided to do PUBG, he didn't build it on DayZ's engine. He went and used his own sources and created
PUBG built Battlegrounds on Epic's engine.
Yes, they entered into like the Unreal Engine stuff. So like, you know, that's using their engine. They licensed it. They're using it. But therefore, Epic can see everything that they're doing as far as, you know, their sources and pieces. So therefore, they were used, you know, that gives them an idea of how they conquered certain things. So then they could go around and figure out how can we take this other game we've created and be able to set up a system that maybe isn't exactly 100% PUBG, aka there's no vehicles, but is still pretty much the same idea.
They're like, what we can do is make it a little more cartoony-ish, a little more fun.
So
like Fortnite was already out.
I'm trying to understand what PUBG's goal is. Is it going to go after every iteration of Battle Royale? No. I know they've said that they don't own the concept of Battle Royale. Yeah. I'm just trying to understand what they're
going to try to prove that they use stuff on that server to make that game that they shouldn't have used.
Imagine,
do you think they did?
I don't know.
I mean,
I know it's hard.
Do you think they did?
I'm guessing that they must have an idea that they can prove it. Yeah. And more importantly, I think at this point, I mean, are they going to stop Fortnite? No. Are they going to, though, maybe get to a point where Fortnite goes, do we really want to risk this? How about we just give them a cut of our profits, and whether it's a one-time payment or it's like, oh, hey, by the way, now for every $10 that's spent, PUBG Corp gets $1. And
they're going to be like, we get $7.
You look and you say, okay, that game made $300 million last month.
Yeah.
So, you know, just take that off right there and say 300, or was it 3 million of that is going to go to PUBG Corp. That's a great thing for them, right? That pays for all their
people still
stuff.
play it.
Yeah. So I totally understand why they are doing this and why they're pushing it. And it's probably because this is the one place they could probably find a legal foothold to do it. And it's also with now was the biggest game in the industry.
I answered, I don't know, a minute ago, but I think, yes, they have some proof or they wouldn't continue to go forward with litigation.
I mean, I don't know that they have proof. Maybe they do. But like you said, Fortnite was nothing when this came about.
Yeah.
Fortnite was actually kind of a joke from
Well,
what I
Fortnite
recall.
had just come out. Or, I mean, like
I feel
the
like
Battle Royale.
The
had
Battle
just come
Royale
out,
mode. Yeah. Okay.
They don't care about traditional Fortnite. You know, that's its own thing. But when you start to look at everything,
Dude, you jump out of a bus
yeah,
with a parachute.
like there was none of that in the original game. None of that is in regular Fortnite.
I thought you guys were talking about technology.
No.
yeah,
as opposed
like,
to cosmetic.
for instance, having
How
an
else are you
idea.
going to drop into an arena?
You're
like that?
thinking of.
One has to assume
I'm
that
talking
it's,
about both in a way. The lawsuit's going to be more on the technology part.
Yes, like the idea,
Not the
John,
cosmetic
like
part.
of
because you can't go in there and say you own the concept jumping out of a bus.
no, but you can
That's just
say
not something.
they literally use the exact same method that we're using to make it possible to have physics where 100 people can jump off into a map this large and it won't crash the game.
But then,
Or then like on top of that we can have a system with a circle around it that can presses down, and we have written the technology as far as the logic and everything going into
That's
it
what he's talking about.
to make it work so that so the game knows when people are outside and therefore should be damaged and at what rate they should be damaged versus when they should be in. And if you go and you look in the code and it looks like a duplication of what PUBG has done, which is what they're going to force them to do.
They got proof of a good old copy, paste, save to file.
That's why I think like why they're doing this is that it's going to force Epic to reveal it at least, right?
At least say, no, this is what we use.
Yeah.
It's nothing like yours. And then it'll be a thing.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, if they do this and they come back and be like, no, here's all our documentation and we did not touch one thing of your code, then yeah, they'll win. And they'll probably say, screw it, no, we're going to fight this thing because
But
we're not gonna let them
my
push it
gut
around.
says for PUBG to go to court,
Yeah.
it's not like big bully guy. It's more like, wait a minute, you did take some of our tech. You are using this knowledge. And then you shouldn't be, because
Exactly.
any battle royale mode doesn't have to come out of the sky and land. Any battle royale mode, there's different ways you could now approach it. You could all start at 100 corners of the same world, on the ground already. Run to that gun, see what happens. There's different ways to do it, but it's weird, man. I don't know. I'm anxious to see what happens because
I wish Battle Royale would work like that, where all the weapons were in like that horn of plenty.
yeah,
Oh, God.
you all
I'd
get
love
there and
that.
you just lay each other out.
it'd be the fastest rounds
Speaking
ever.
of which, Aiden won a Fortnite match.
Ah,
Solo
good for him.
or team or duo?
Duo?
doesn't.
I think duo.
Solo is pretty tough. I still don't have one. I don't play it enough, but
Finally this week.
Oh, the hungering
Finally.
deep just blew.
Finally this week. Twilight of the PS4. While the PS4 is going strong, PlayStation CEO John Codera said that the PS4 is, I don't know if I said that right. did I?
I screwed up that one.
Oh, okay.
That was not. That's called an incomplete sentence.
yeah, that's just called that.
Yeah, I was like looking, I was like, let me get this right for him. CEO John Codera said that the PS4 is entering its final phase of the life cycle with anticipation of declining console sales in the next couple of years. Sony is shifting its focus to the expansion of the PS network, suggesting that it will be the primary source of revenue in its coming final years, and that Sony will be investing in more exclusive games for PlayStation platforms, including new IP. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, it kind of does to me because if you think about it, the PS2
Yeah.
sold like forever, even when the PS3 was out.
Well,
The PS3 sold forever when the PS4 was out,
I think you're kind of
didn't it? Didn't it still
I think
sell?
you're misinterpreting what he's saying. Like,
I think it tetered pretty quickly.
I think no,
No.
it sold for a long time. He's right on that, but no, he's
into the life cycle of the PlayStation 4.
what I'm saying. What I think he is saying is he's saying like
We know that the PlayStation 3 outsold the Xbox 360
we do,
Why'd you have to do that to him? Why'd you do that to him?
because I love it.
but they won the generation.
You know what? The
And
Wii
know
U
it's
didn't
true.
outsell anything, John, so that's what we got to live with.
13 million. Anyways, I would say he's not saying that. He's more so saying like, look, we've gone through this period where everything is all about getting as many consoles out and getting people to buy those consoles. You've gotten past that core part. You sold 80 million consoles. Now we're entering the phase of this where yes, it will continue to sell, but we're not like concerned so much of did we sell 20 million PlayStations last year? We're concerned about how much did you buy for our PlayStation brand?
What if this is a hint?
And this is normal.
on possible E3?
No.
No, or
No.
well, what if it's a hint that they say we are begun work on PS5?
Well, they're definitely working on it.
No.
Yeah.
Official announcements, dude.
No.
He's already kind of hinted to the fact.
This is my fault.
Yeah.
I forgot to put in this note. He said they would start talking about it
In a couple of years.
in 2021.
Yeah.
Meaning you won't see it on the shelves until at least 2022.
Next couple of
And you
years.
say
So
that.
He said it.
Well, no.
Pretty
As
much.
far as 22, it might be 2020, 2021 is then when it comes out. Remember,
Still,
because like
if
where
that's the case,
he
that's
could
a
talk
long
about it in
time.
March and then it's like that November it's coming out.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah. Calm down, young Padawan. But
that's a wannabe Jedi or soon to be Jedi, John.
Right.
So you're
unlike
at least,
Obi-Wan.
you're at least a Jedi, possibly.
At least
Maybe
I got my
one day.
braid. See, Sean, a braid.
You would look hilarious with a Padawan braid.
No,
right
I would
now.
look adorable.
Are we ready to wrap this up?
That was
Never.
technically
Never gonna wrap up. Speaking of which, before we wrap up,
never.
and never will, I forgot to also mention, this was really a bad week for show notes.
You were terrible.
Bareback.
I was racking my brain trying to figure out what I was missing. There was a what do you guys think about the cloud version of Resident Evil 7 in Japan?
I don't care.
Don't care. I'm just more interested in the PSVR version of it when I'm going to play it.
I'm not really trying to ask you what you think of the game. I'm asking.
I literally, I mean, like,
but you said, what do you think about it?
Okay, I thought you guys read the news, but I was wrong.
Oh,
I saw
you
that,
should
but-
articulate your
yeah.
questions a little better, mister.
I saw it, but I mean, like, honestly, I'm like,
Here
okay.
at Weekly
makes
Games
sense.
Chat, we talk about big picture things.
Do
And
we?
when I'm talking about big picture
he
things,
running-
I mean
is he running
the
a promo? What's happening?
the idea of running a game cloud-based in the States.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you think can you see Resident Evil 7 coming to the States in cartridge form? Why did they go cloud save? I'm asking for some thoughts.
No
but you
idea.
don't have to. We can go to the frickin' letters.
Are we going to
Maybe they
letters?
wrote about it.
Maybe
got really heated.
He really did.
It's kind of like
See what
he's
happened,
like those
John?
Twitter users.
Here's what happened. When Chris says finally this week, our brain shut off. Right?
Pretty much.
That's not really when your brain shuts off.
No, you're right, but I'm also right. Okay, so now we have to move on.
I shut off at the Hungering Deep.
Yeah, you did.
But let's wrap this up.
Hey, why don't you put on news next week?
I said,
Nobody cares. Remember?
let's wrap this up.
Never.
Electronic mail from the future. Now, what happened on the end there, bud? All right. First up, our first email, which was written into weeklygamechat@gmail.com.
Boy.
John, stop reading ahead.
Yeah,
You're going to let me
John,
read this
let it
to
be
you.
organic, dude.
Yeah. Stop reading ahead and just let me read this to you. But yes, you can write those into weeklygamechat@gmail.com. Just like, let's see, I want to make sure I say it. Okay. He didn't say his name. So I'm just going to say Ever or Lonzo. I guess his name's Ever Lonzo. Yeah, let's go with that. He says, sorry for not writing in last week. But since I've never written in before, I guess I can make up with that by writing in for the first time this week, smiley face. As per my E3 predictions, they are all a bit crazy.
I like crazy. Let's
First
be
up,
crazy.
number one, he predicts there will be a Dead Space HD remaster for Dead Space 1 through 3. With the success of Resident Evil and other recent horror games, maybe they decided to gauge the audience's reaction to Dead Space by re-releasing all the Dead Space games in 4K with 60 frames per second remasters. Maybe if enough people buy them, then we can finally get a Dead Space 4. I'll tell you to hold your breath on that one, but we'll see.
But then he'd be like a blue person in a corner because he'd be holding it forever. Because John, when you hold your breath, you turn blue.
Number two, he predicts a pre-Fable 1 Fable game set during the height of the heroes and villains of Fable 1 history. Would love to see a proper Fable game without lies and leadership of Pierre Molyneux. That's pretty funny. Dude has fantastic video game ideas, but sucks at realizing them. He hopes they'll have an open world, magic everywhere, only swords and magic as weapons, world full of mystical creatures from the lore of Fable games. I'll say this, I would like to see guns too, like just the classic pistols. They're in the other ones. Thank you. But we'll see. I agree with you. That's what I said. I hope it is a pre-Fable 1 game. That's what I hope.
Chris would like that. I would like that
I
too.
predicted it.
Did you?
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the show.
There's no way I
top
was going to
notch.
listen to that garbage of NPR last week.
It got 5 out of 5 ratings, just so you know. Kingdom Hearts 3 will have a release date, and it will be October 2018. Wow, another October game, huh? I think that will be the only big enough to challenge Red Dead Redemption 2 this year. See, he's smart.
No, he's not. He's listening to you.
Never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, but I always wanted to. We'll definitely check this one out when it comes out this year. I think they had gameplay the other day. They showed old Woody from Toy Story in the game. That looked cool. 4, a new Splinter Cell game is almost guaranteed, at least the announcement, but I think it will be a whole reboot of the character, new voice actor, new storyline, a new Splinter Cell for a modern digital age. And finally this week, Splooge, Sean, and finally this week, you are dropping so many balls right now.
No, first of all, I never, ever drop balls, Chris.
Well, yeah.
Wait, what?
Anyways, Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil 8 will be announced this year with a release date of 2018. Wow. Same game engineers as RE7, but maybe a retelling of the mansion from Resident Evil 1. I think they heard everyone's criticisms of RE7 when the game suddenly changing locations and gears.
Spoilers!
For instance, it went from a creepy house location with limited ammo and resources to a creepy ship, but with an ammo and a machine gun and plentiful resources.
End of spoilers!
So for RE8, I think they will make it more of a stuck in a mansion aspect to keep players isolated with limited resources. That's all I got for this week. Love you guys. Keep up the excellent podcasting. Game on.
Game on, sir.
Game on. He stole my heart with the Dead Space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't
Thank you
think
for the email.
Next up, Aaron.
What up, Aaron?
Says, hey guys, Aaron here. I was recently listening to an old episode and Sean, spelled incorrectly, said, was on a That's What She Said roll. And then he said he really could use that after any sentence. And then Chris just kept on reading the email. And the next line was, if people jump off a bridge, don't follow them. To which John said, that's what she said. That's pretty funny. I literally screamed at work and laughed so freaking hard. Don't know why that was funny to me. Anyways, love you guys. Game on.
Game on. We love you too. And it was funny because we're funny.
I wonder what it's like not to know us and listen to this every week.
They're like, these guys. Ugh.
I don't really know either of you, so
You're just a figment of my imagination. I like to think I'm alone in a room right now and I've just invented this podcast in my mind. Finally, we got JJ Master. He says, hello, Weekly Games Chat crew. This is Jaden. Oh, okay. He gave his real name. From Seattle, Washington. Most of my E3 predictions are extremely likely, but I figured I would share them anyways. This list is somewhat reasonable hopes, with number 1 being what I wanted to see most. You can probably tell that I just bought a Switch and I've put my Xbox One on the back burner. Ooh.
Oh,
that's a smart move. Xbox One sucks.
Number
right now.
1. I mean,
Sean is dead.
I don't know if you know this. Sea of Thieves is way better than Breath of the Wild. I can't even say that.
Good point, Chris. Good point.
And State of Decay 2 is, oh god, try to play it. Can't do it. Fortnite Battle Royale for Switch is his top prediction, with Forza Horizon 4 coming in second, then Borderlands 3, Pokemon Switch, Fallout 4 announced for the Switch, Tony Hawk's Skate 4. Man, a lot of people, if you told me that Skate and Tony Hawk were coming together and I was getting a new Tony Hawk game and a new Skate game,
you'd be done, wouldn't you?
Oh man, I'd be.
Especially if it harkened back to like the Tony Hawk original.
No. As long as it's like Skate. I don't care about Tony Hawk. Overwatch announced for the Switch. Maybe. I think they pretty much already said that can't happen. Yeah.
Blizzard's like, nah, dog.
New Splinter Cell game teased. Gears of War 5 announcement.
I think that's a guarantee.
Or teaser. More important information about Cyberpunk 2077. Hopefully
nice.
with a release one.
That'd be
I hope we
nice.
at least get like a trailer. I know that number 6 is out of the blue. That would be Tony Hawk's Skate 4. But come on, think about it. Tony Hawk has beef with Activision for not making another pro skater, and everybody wants a 4 skate game from EA anyways. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions. Game on. I want Skate 4. I don't care if only Tony Hawk's attached. It's been like 7 years, I think, since the last skate game.
Are you going to start wearing like your old Genkos and everything again?
They're
my Jenkos? You call them Jenkos?
Genkos.
They're coming out with a Tony Hawk pop.
Yeah?
I'm not getting it.
I'm just saying.
He was on Slow Mo, guys, and he did a 900. Or no, it wasn't a 900. It was a McFlip Twisty.
McFlip Twisty. That sounds like something Wendy's would have.
Those seem pretty cool, Jaden.
Yeah,
I think a lot of them are probably right, except for
Overwatch on Switch. I don't think will happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I think Fallout 4 is going to get the PSVR announcement.
Ooh,
since it's already been on VR for PC for a little while.
That makes sense. And that's it for me. What do you got on?
Oh my God, it's my turn.
What's on the Twitterverse?
We got a 1 hour ago at Big Riff. Says at Weekly Games Chat this week I learned that Chris's Southern accent comes out exclusively when he says, you know.
At
Hydraberg actually wanted to know, wasn't it actually Chris and John last week though?
That's the rumor.
Apparently we're not the only ones who
I might have gotten a couple of things on Facebook too.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. I think even like old Slade said, so John is John now? Or something like that to me.
I'm loading up new followers. Chris's internet is letting me down right now.
The internet has not been good tonight.
I know we at least had one because I literally just saw it. Well, that loaded up nice. So I'm going to give a shout out to at TMart937. Thank you so much for the follow. I will follow you back when the internet acts right. And Chris, I don't know if I can get to the other ones. See what it's doing?
Yeah, maybe my internet's just on like
you got a little lag issue going on.
Yeah, I guess so.
A little update. You downloading something? You downloading that new John Mayer video again?
You know me. Anyways.
Yeah, I think we're not going to get to them, but if you have followed it, I will bring it up next time.
There you go.
Thank you so much. And if you want to join the Twitter conversation, Chris, where do they find us?
You can get us at Weekly Games Chat on Twitter and also on Facebook and YouTube. We're all on those things. If you want to write emails, again, you can write them to weeklygamechat@gmail.com. That's weeklygamechat@gmail.com. If you want new episodes every Wednesday, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, wherever podcast service you use, and you will get a new episode every Wednesday. If you like the show and they have a rating or review system there, drop us 5 stars. If you hate the show, drop us 4 stars. That way you completely have hurt us if you give us 4 stars instead of 5 stars. And you've made a point. Right? We all agree in this logic? I think we're all agreeing on it.
What are we doing? What's he doing?
Waiting to wrap up.
This has been episode 155 of Weekly Games Chat. Until next time, because I keep track of things. I'm an adult.
Are you?
Yeah, as I stare at you.
We play video games.
Yeah. Adults hang
I'm going to go play with my pops after this.
Adults hang up more than 2 pictures in their house, usually.
Not if they don't want people to realize this is where the serial killer lives. What?
Speaking of Dexter.
Where you about, Shy 14?
Would you?
Until next time, though.
Oh my God, they all came up.
Well, too bad. We already wrapped it up.
So only old T-Mart. I got a bunch of y'all. Say what's up to next week.
Game on, Sean.
Oh, game on, Chris.
Ooh, game on, John.
Dark Souls has partial nudity, and game on, Sean and Chris.
Penny's whining.
Game on, John.
Penny knows this is the end, so she's whining. Your mom's box.
Peace out, everybody.
Thug life. That's what she said.